Crossbreeding with indigenous dairy. Crossbreeding of indigenous dairy cows into highly has been undertaken. Dr. Mishra? Dr. Mishra?
हाँ डॉक्टर दास
हाँ 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 नमस्कार
नमस्कार
मु कहली केतले आरंभ करिवे
नहीं सांगे 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 आरंभ कर
ठीक
सब
अछि
दिसरा हाँ ठीक
आज
डॉक्टर बासंती
Yes, sir.
should we start
Sir, our Dean, Dr. L.K. Babu, sir, has not joined till now.
okay ask Anil to call give a call let us start because
His number is not reachable, sir.
okay we should start now because honorable vice chancellor is also busy engagement
Sir, I am audible.
yes sir
yes sir audible sir audible
Yes.
sir
yes
sir good morning sir
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
good morning
good morning.
Question दिया, अच्छा अच्छा, okay. Respected delegates, respected Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir of OUAT Dr. P.K. Agrawal Sir, respected Dr. Asi Das Sir, PI IDP Naheb, Respected Dr. J.K. Das, sir, Nodal Officer, IDP Naheb. Respected Dr. L.K. Babu, sir, Dean of College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry. And our two guest speakers, Dr. Kulasekar, sir, and Dr. Murugavel, sir. My dear participant, on behalf of the organizing committee of National Webinar, Entrepreneurship Development in Livestock Farming through Augmentation of Animal Fertility, I, Dr. Basanti Jena, Assistant Professor in Department of Animal Reproduction, Gynecology and Obstetrics, welcome you all to this national webinar. This national webinar, basically we have planned this national webinar keeping on eye that animal infertility and fertility are the two key factors for animal production. So hope this webinar will be helpful in enhancing the knowledge of the field veterinarian, students, scientists, researchers, and all the participants who are participating in this August occasion. So I would like to ask the permission of the chair to start the inaugural session of this national webinar. Can we start?
Please go ahead.
So in the inaugural session, first I would like to request our organizing secretary, Dr. P.C. Misra, sir, Head Department of Animal Reproduction, Gynecology and Obstetrics, to give the welcome address. Please, sir.
Thank you, Vasant. It is my proud privilege to welcome my Honorable Vice Chancellor, Revered Dr. P.K. Agarwal. I am grateful for allowing us two such webinars within a span of 1 month, which could be possible due to his able leadership and profound love towards the college and the department. I welcome Dr. Ramchandra Das, Principal Investigator, IDP Nahep OUAT, who is the real man behind the show. And due to his constant inspirations for number of such webinars, only few such webinars could have been arranged by the College of Veterinary Science and also by other colleges. I welcome my beloved Dean, Dr. L.K. Babu, who is the inspiration behind the event. Due to his able leadership, we are in a right direction to organize such important webinars. I welcome Dr. J.K. Das, Nodal Officer, IDP for the College of Veterinary Science. The program is being directly monitored by Dr. Das, and I am thankful to him to moderate the webinar within such a short notice. I welcome our two revered speakers, Dr. Kulasekar, very experienced and former professor of head and ARGO, a department of ARGO, Tanuvas, Chennai, and Dr. Murugavel, Professor ARGO from Pondicherry Veterinary College. I remember Dr. Murugavel's excellent presentation during 2010 ISAR seminar, Odisha chapter, for which he is being remembered ever by the delegates, the ISAR members and the students. And due to this, their request only, again we have invited him for his lecture. And I know Dr. Kulasekar is very experienced in the field, and we can benefit from these two speakers. I welcome you, sir. I welcome all the student delegates, colleagues, ISAR members, different members from all over India and Odisha, and due to their constant support only, we are able to organize such webinars, and you are getting the inspiration from them. Thank you. I lastly welcome my two of the assistant professors, which is of no mention actually, due to their effort only, Dr. Basanti Jena and Dr. Naik. Only this is being possible. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your inspiring words. Now we should proceed. I would like to request Dr. R.C. Das, sir, PI IDP Nahep of OUAT, to give his address. Please, sir.
Good morning to one and all. Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor P.K. Agarwal, sir. Dr. K. Kulashekar, former professor, Tanuvas, Madras Veterinary College, Tanuvas, and Dr. K. Murugavel, professor, River, Pondicherry, and Dr. L.K. Babu, our Dean of the Faculty of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, our Associate Coordinator, Professor Dr. P.C. Misra, and Nodal Officer Dr. J.K. Das, and our Organizing Secretary, Dr. Mrs. Jena, and Dr. and other faculty members of the College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, and all other members of our university participating in this seminar, and also the faculty students from other university and ICER institutes participating in this seminar. Sir, at the beginning, I'm thankful to my Vice Chancellor here, who has also allowed for this conducting this webinar. And I think the webinar and training online mode we are conducting this 7th number in the series in the College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry during this lockdown period. Because during this lockdown period, we have no other options rather than interacting virtually to keep our students and faculty active. And today's topic, the entrepreneurship development in livestock farming through augmentation of animal fertility. Through this, though I'm not this man, I'm a man of pharmacy and power and agriculture engineering. I have very little knowledge on this animal fertility and livestock farming. But I had an opportunity to work in the KVK for almost 2 years. So there I was finding in the Ganjam sheep variety. So there was a twinning process that sheep used to give 2 kids at a time. So is it any possibility of getting the same reproductivity or augmenting this in case of our calf or say cows and the buffaloes? So so that is one area, if that can be that can happen. So definitely this will add lot of value and profit to the farmers. And this is very important topic, because I find sometimes these animals doesn't give birth for a consecutive 2 years, 3 years. There is a temporary barren period, etc. So I hope this topic, because yesterday also I was listening to our Honorable Minister's address in our Shifa Koushalagang. So he has emphasized this entrepreneurship in the rural sector among the farmers, to how to make the also. So through this, we can improve the life of the farmers, particularly in the educated farmers having no job in the rural sector. So this is the area through which they can earn their livelihood, and also so they will be example for other farmers to imitate them or to follow them. And animal sector, no doubt, is the first option to make the farmers' income increase, maybe double, as our Honorable Prime Minister has told, by 2022 we should make the income of farmers double. So so this is coming to NAHEF. This entrepreneurship is one of the important aspect of this NAHEF project, where the aim is to train our students so that they will not be job seekers, rather job providers. And in one of the meeting during the formulation of the project, our former DG was telling, if out of this NHP project, if I'll get only one entrepreneurs pan-India, like Nestle, he'll have a company like Nestle, so that will be the successful. I will think this NAHEP project of 1100 crores, that will be successful. So only one entrepreneur in the stature of Nestle India Limited or similar things, if we can produce only one entrepreneur through this project. So entrepreneurship and skill, these are the very important words, and repeatedly told in many times in this project. So this webinar definitely add or open the eyes of our students, and they will motivate our students by hearing this the speech and the experience of our veteran and experienced professors, their experience and their knowledge. Those students will be motivated, and they will be their curiosity will increase, and ultimately they will be interested to have some entrepreneurship. So I have nothing to say, only formality. Being the PI, I have been told to tell something. So with this, I welcome our two eminent speakers who will be delivering their lecture, discussing with their faculty and students. And I also welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, who has given time during this holiday period also to attend this webinar. And I thank the organizer and other members who have taken pain to arranging this type of seminar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for such a nice deliberation and your views regarding this entrepreneur development by using this IDP NAHE project. Definitely, it will be taken care by our participants, and they are going to accept this one as a positive note. And definitely, we will be able to create the entrepreneur in near future. So this webinar will be definitely will be going to be fruitful by your advice. Thank you so much, sir. Proceeding forward, now I would like to request Dr. J.K. Das sir, Nodal Officer IDP NAHE, to give his address to our participants. Please, sir.
Thank you, Vasanthi. So first of all, I welcome to all the participants in the online platform to this webinar organized by the College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, OUAT, Bhubaneswar. So, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P.K. Agrawal, the Chairman and the Chief Patron of this webinar, I welcome Dr. R.C. Das, the esteemed PI of the IDP NAHP, the revered Dean of the Faculty, Dr. L.K. Babu, the Chairman of the Organizing Committee, the Organizing Secretary, Dr. P.C. Mishra, Co-Organizing Secretary, Dr. Basanti Jena, Dr. Anil Nahak, and we have invited the esteemed speakers, Dr. K. Kulsekar, the Professor and Head, retired of the Madras Veterinary College, Chennai, and Dr. K. Murugavel, the Professor of the Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Veterinary and Education and Research, Puducherry. Thank you, sir. So first of all, so I want to approach that so previously during this COVID-19, we are seeing the many of the organizations and some the few universities were so ahead in organizing the online webinars. So the national and the international for imparting knowledge. So among the participants are the students, faculties, the researchers, field veterinarians, field personnel, and also the interested personnel who are having the inclination to the science and particularly to the subject. So now the Odisha University of Agriculture and Technology so now has taken the leading role in organizing the webinar. So in assistance with the IDP NAHP. So from our college, so till it, so we have already organized the 6 webinars. So out of this, the 4 one-day webinars we have already organized, and so also the 2 training, the 2 days training and 4 days training we have already organized. Now we have reached at the 7th online webinar. So including this veterinary college, other colleges also, the fishery college, the College of Engineering and Technology, College of Agriculture, they are also organizing and remaining in co-pair with other national universities. So in imparting knowledge, science to the participants in different spheres, in different sectors. So we have chosen this in this 7th online webinar, the entrepreneurship development in livestock farming through augmentation in animal fertility. So in order to enrich the fertility and to gain the milk production in India, though India stands the first, so among the other countries, the first producer of milk production, still then, so we are lagging behind. So if you calculate the per capita, the consumption of the milk, so the fertility and the fecundity, so these are the two challenges, so remaining before to stabilize the economy and to grow further. So regarding the more production, so in terms of the milk and so also the other associated productive things. So in this webinar, so we have invited the speakers to impart the knowledge, so regarding how to go for the better fertility, better conception, so that the good calves, the good female calves, so can be brought up, and from them, so we can go for better production, more production of milk, so that so will remain as the first milk producer in the country, in the world, and so also the per capita consumption also will be increased. So through this, so for taking the subject which is a required demand and the present demand, so before the livestock entrepreneur, before the persons who are invested for the livestock farming, so that the operation plot in the 50-year plan, so which has been taken for the growth of the national economy. So in the operation plot, Dr. Varghese Kurian, so who has given his dedication to increase the milk production in India, so to give the assistance in the milk production, so the fecundity and the fertility should be taken in parallel thing, so that our indigenous animals so can be go for better production by yielding good and good germplasm, having the good calves, so that the milk production of the India can be increased. So with this, so I welcome both the speakers, Dr. K. Kulsekhar, and also Dr. K. Murugavel, and I am sure that they will surely satisfy the cherries and the demand of the participants who are so awaiting to gain knowledge to go forward with the entrepreneurship development through augmentation of the animal fertility. So thank you. So I expect the webinar will surely meet the demand of the participants. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your kind inspiring word to our participants. Now I would like to request our Dean, sir, Dr. L.K. Babu, sir, Dean of College of Veterinary Science, to address the gathering. Please, sir.
Good morning, everybody. At the outset, actually, I beg apology for the delay. Actually, I could be able to come a little bit late because of some technical fault. And my Vice Chancellor is very particular. He was asking me about that. The delay actually due to technical fault, I could not be able to come. Honorable Vice Chancellor, respected Dr. Das, PI, IDP, NHP, Professor Joykrishna Das, our nodal officer, the organizing secretary, Dr. Misra, and other two colleagues from College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, working as a co-organizing secretary in this particular webinar. And that too, I welcome the two speakers. Along with that, the participants, my fellow colleagues. So I welcome all of you on behalf of College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry. But one thing I express my gratitude to my Vice Chancellor, because several webinars we have organized during this COVID, what Dr. Das has already told, the PI of this project. Whenever we approach him, without any inhibition, without thinking anything. He always is telling for technical matter, you go ahead. And for this in the right time he used to come, and that too the type of information that he used to give very valuable. So one day I was telling that although our vice chancellor is a man of agriculture, but because of his sufficient involvement in NASF, his involvement in veterinary field is quite high. Whenever we used to listen that thing, also we used to realize that thing. Sir, thank you very much for guiding our faculty member and for organizing this webinar. Several webinars we have organized because of your help, and that to Dr. Das also, PI, IDP, NHP. Whenever our faculty, they used to approve, they used to tell, yes, go ahead. And thereby, the faculty member, the student, the participants all are also being benefited. And in this particular today's webinar, entrepreneurship development in livestock farming through augmentation of animal fertility, this is one very important aspect, because so far as the fertility is concerned, we know that the fertility means if the animal is able to produce one fertile offspring, not that the animal is producing fertile ova and high fecundity will be there. And for example, in case of pig having high fecundity, and if the piglets will not be born of live or viable piglet, then that will be of no meaning. So this fertility is one important aspect. And particularly, I expect that our two speaker, one is Dr. Kulsekar, that is the first speaker. I welcome you, sir. And I am expecting that all the participants will be benefited. And second person, Dr. Murugavel. I welcome Dr. Murugavel also. We had been to Garibidi in October 2019 in VCI inspection. I do remember. I welcome you again, sir. And I expect that this fertility topic will be very valuable, particularly while dealing with these repeat breeding cases, dealing with how to reduce the service period, how these cases of stillbirth, abortion will be less. And particularly in case of buffalo, as we know that they are silent stress coming to it during the night hours in summer season, some focuses will be there, and thereby the fertility of the animal will be increased. And as a result, the further milk production will be increased of the country. Dr. J.K. Das was telling that India is no doubt self-sufficient in milk production. And a situation was there in the first 5-year plan during 1950-51, when the milk production of the country was only 17 million ton. Now it has been increased to 188 million ton. At that time, the per capita availability was 130 gram per head per day. But now the per capita availability has been increased to 394 gram per head per day, which is more than the optimum requirement of 280 gram per head per day for one adult human being. So through this respect, dealing with this improvement in fertility, with the giving emphasis on artificial insemination and other, I expect that both of the speaker will give some valuable suggestion, valuable talk, valuable information to our participants. So on behalf of College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, again I welcome all of you, the participants, the speakers, and again I express my hearty thanks to the PI, IDP, NAHP, and my Vice Chancellor for their cooperation to make this webinar successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for very nicely elaborating the fertility and infertility and their relationship with production. So without reproduction, there will be no production. You have very clearly demonstrated all the things. So it is our privilege to hear all the things from you. Thank you so much, sir. Our participant might have enjoyed all the information they have gathered from you. So it will be our privilege to hear from our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Dr. P.K. Agrawal, sir, Vice Chancellor for OUAT, regarding the welcome address to this August occasion. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody, and I welcome all of you. My colleagues, Dr. Babu, Dean, Dr. Arshi Das, Dr. J. Das, organizing group, Dr. Mishra, Dr. Naik, Dr. Jena, both the speakers, Dr. K. Kulasekhara and Dr. K. Murugavai. I welcome all of you and thank you very much for this webinar. When I was reading the title, the two components are well highlighted: livestock farming and augmentation of animal fertility. Individually, they are that looks very common words, very routinely discussed topics. But when these two words are together or two paragraphs are together, it makes a very timely topic to be discussed. So I thought, as a layman, whatever the points can be there, I would like to attract your attention. Of course, followed by two learned speakers that will be, you all will be listening. When we talk of farming or we talk of production, we always talk of first is production productivity. That means the way Dr. Babu started the milk production, whether it is milk, meat or anything from the livestock sector, we like to have more production, but with low input in terms of cost or in terms of food or in terms of whatever input you are giving, with minimum input, maximum productivity, and that will make economical sense. One more component we always, whether it is poultry or whether it is livestock or is fish, the cost of feed is always a very big component for total farming system. Health, that is related to feed also, that is add to the hygienic living condition, that also related to reproduction. If a normal animal or a human being, if you say reproduction, food and hygiene contributes more than 50% of that. So we cannot talk reproduction or production bypassing food component and good health. These are very, very essential part. Then one of the very important point is reproduction per se, that is reproduction, fertility, if it is AI, artificial insemination or IVF, that we'll like to discuss a little bit elaboratively. And when you talk about the productivity and infertility, probably the topic became more pronounced when crossbreeding started in India. It is a Holstein Friesian or whether Jersey or all exotic animals, because of higher production or productivity, when they were brought to cross, then there is a genetic factor why the reproduction became a factor of discussion or became a factor of concern. And there is always an occasion to compromise. Either you are going to stop the artificial AI with exotic animals, or you have to find an alternative way so that both can be possible. And that is why the gamut of discussion of production and productivity, farming versus reproduction became a bigger issue. Of course, there are a lot of other issues. For example, Dr. Babu was talking that our milk production per head is quite good, but the number of livestock we are having in the country and the area of grazing area of food, all the availability, we cannot sustain the number of animals what we are having. So maybe we have to bring down the population to 1/4 and have the production and productivity higher, so that every requirement is sufficed. So it is a very complex issues. That is why to start with, I observed that farming and reproduction or fertility together is a big issue of discussion and big issue to be sorted out in a better scientific way. As a layman, whatever I understand, I like to little bit put my viewpoints. Whenever we talk of infertility and fertility, to my mind it comes, there are factors which you can prevent. There are factors which you can go for treatment. And there can be factors which you can find alternatives. Prevention can be, suppose you know, a group of animals that sometimes we say heterotic group, or the population with some genetic makeup, how they will be behaving with some other population when they crossed. And that is a genetic phenomenon well observed for last 100 years in a lot of commodities. So, if we have an idea that per se Jersey or Holstein Friesian has some genetic load or genetic issues, should we go for a crossing with particular breed of India or not? Should we cross with every breed, descript, non-descript, or we should have a thinking what will be the factor of genetics? Second factor can be a treatment factor. Treatment can be clinical treatment. Maybe you are giving some medicines, hormones, whatever. Or for me, the treatment can be other, which is not a clinical sense. You may not so well appreciate. But I feel, suppose you are taking care, suppose a breed or an animal has, because of some physiological or hygienic condition, suppose it is in a difficulty or food, you take care of that. That is a kind of treatment, I feel. But broader sense or management, you can put a word. But everything together will make amelioration from the infertility. Third is alternatives. Alternative means, suppose we know an animal, the female is not capable of producing a viable ova, or there is no fertilization, but it can carry animal during pregnancy. Then IVF can be alternative. That means the animal is used, you are making a embryo in vitro, you are planting and you are giving the animal productive. So we have a range of answering the problems, from understanding the genetics to a production system to treatment system to alternative like IVF. And when go for whatever way you want to do, today's science gives you a lot of depth of understanding. It may be genetics, it may be transcriptomes, it can be proteomics, it may be metabolomics, it may be genome editing or gene manipulations. There's a lot of scope. Genetics I elaborate a little bit. I do not want to elaborate further because then I will be the half a day I will be talking. So I won't want to take that topic further. But then when lot of n number, for example, I'm giving when a sperm moves or a zygote is formed, you are having thousands of genes expressed and de-expressed. And what kind of transcriptome are produced, that will be also give a lot of understanding. What kind of medical, clinical approach we can follow to find a way to control it. One more area, I have listened a lot of speakers, or I have read how the some candidate protein can be a factor for either allow the sperm to move fast or slow to encourage or discourage fertilization. And you can, when you go for a XX or XY desired situation, so you want to discourage the Y chromosome to move, then cell sorting machine is now one of the most top technology. But there can be a number of other technology in future where without going for such a self-sorting machine or semen sexing. You can also have an alternative way of blocking a particular kind of Y chromosome having sperm and allow the eggs, so that if fertility without being lot of so-called disturbance to the system, will have a occasion to have a sorting of the semen or encouraging the female production over the male production in milk animals. One more thing I feel, this branch, particularly in India, globally also, I mean, it is true, but India it is more true, that we have not understood a lot about metabolomic approaches. And there is one more approach which can be of a future area of research, or maybe is genomic selection. Very few very good laboratories have worked on genomic selection related to all those approach, when we know that genetic factors are a big factor for affecting reproduction, and we want to produce some a desirable herd which can be a source of sperm for the future AI. So we can select a desired kind of bulls with known genomic constitutions, and that can be great. I'm giving one example. I understand lot of bull selection in India have not gone through a progeny testing. So not only we should go for a progeny testing, that can be also supported by genome selection. And lastly, if everything is done and still you don't have an answer, then based on your transcriptome analysis, based on your proteome knowledge, you can also go for a genome editing. Believe me, another 15-20 years, India will have a regulation which allow genome editing to be a common like any other technology. Because the last 4-5 years, the country has debated a lot how to handle the genome edited plants or animals for future application. And one of the clonal research that CIV people did in Buffalo, also giving us a way how we take cloned animals as a source of for AI. So my point is, this topic has a very wide spectrum of aspects to be discussed, deliberated, understood, and some will be immediately used, some will be near future used, some will help us understand it better, and some will be food for thought for future. So future generation will have something to talk, and that will benefit to science. Science of life, science of animal reproduction, and science of better understanding as a living system or mammals. Because infertility in human being or animals, lot of mechanisms are very similar. That is why when we initiated one project at NSF, we put a team of NDRI and AIMS Delhi to work together to help each other how to supplement and complement their knowledge and expertise. One more topic also I like to add, because entrepreneurship is a topic, and I thought what OUAT recently has done, let me elaborate so that future you are aware what approach you are going to follow. Entrepreneurship, not only training we have been for last more than 1 year, 1.5 years almost. We are also quite strongly emphasizing to create some incubation center, entrepreneurship and handholding at OUAT. Last week, we had a meeting with the MSME Ministry Government of India to create a incubation center for fishery at Rangaligunda. So also we are going to create 5 incubation center very soon in OUAT, one at Bhubaneswar and 3 or 4 some more locations. We are planning to not planning, rather, it is more advanced. We are going to initiate very soon the incubation, handholding to our students, to potential dropout youth, and many other stakeholders. It will very soon, it will be a working model. One more point I was thinking, Dr. Babu can take care of this observation. If it is done already, you please neglect it. When we were sending the circular of all the webinar, I was thinking, can we send the circular to all the ICAR institute who are related to animal sciences, and all the agricultural university or veterinary university who are having the college of veterinary under them, so that you can have a wider participation, and also it will attract to be visible, your webinar will be more visible across the country. I won't mind if you have some link with some Western laboratory, and they will like to give them linkage, that is also good. Already you are putting so much effort. 100, 125 we are getting, it is a very good number of participants. Our students will are benefited also already. But if you have more wider circulation, it is always a better thing.
Okay, sir.
I am sure I may not have told any blunder related to the subject I am talking. And I wish all the good for all of you people for deliberations, and particular two learning speakers. I'm sure their deliberation and discussion will take all the participants. We don't take only participants as students. I'm sure a lot of participants may be learned people. So experienced people, learned means experienced people. So all the participation and resource persons and we organizers, we all are in the same platform. After a certain age or certain positions, we will learn from each other. So let the learning process continue, let the deliberation be useful to everybody, and let us create an environment of academia and research to take all of us in a higher platform. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time and delivering a highly technical keynote address. Being from the agriculture background, you have very scientifically elaborated the theme of this national webinar. We are very much thankful for that purpose. Our participant might have gained a lot of knowledge, a lot of scientific knowledge regarding this webinar from your talk. Your deliberation regarding this transcriptomic, genomics, and metabolomic study for the amelioration of infertility, use of semen sexing technology for improving the fertility, simultaneously considering the male and female fertility together to improve the fertility in the animal reproduction will be definitely perceived by our participants and will be used for improving fertility for future. It's only because of your constant support and inspiration and along with the support of our beloved Dean Sir Dr. L.K. Babu Sir, we are able to organize this second webinar in our department, and simultaneously this IDP NAHE project also has funded both the webinars to our speakers also. So we are thankful to both of them. Unless besides your support and your constant inspiration, it was not possible on our part to organize such a huge program. So we are thankful for that one. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll be leaving after a few minutes. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So moving forward towards our next part of this national webinar, with the kind permission of the chairs, can we proceed for our technical session of this webinar, sir?
You have written introduction of the two guests you have written, na?
Yes, sir. That is the part of this our technical session. Can we proceed, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead and continue. And Dr. Babu will be taking care about things to further move. Huh?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
So moving forward towards our technical session, I would like to welcome our first speaker, of this technical session 1, Dr. K. Kulasekar sir, retired professor and head Department of Clinics, Madras Veterinary College, Tanuvas, Chennai. Giving a brief introduction of Dr. Kulasekar sir, I welcome you sir to this national webinar. Professor Kulasekar sir has been superannuated as professor and head from Department of Animal Reproduction, Gynecology and Obstetrics from Madras Veterinary College, Tanuvas. And he is a renowned professor in the field of animal reproduction, especially in the field of amelioration of female infertility problems. He has handled many competitive projects in the area of embryo transport technology and genetic upgradation of indigenous cattle and buffaloes. He has many publications in national and international reputed journals. He has got many awards and recognition in his professional career, such as FAO Fellowship from USA, ISAR Fellowship, NC Sharma Award, and many more. He has guided many PG and PhD students. I welcome you, sir, to this national webinar on entrepreneurship development in livestock farming through augmentation of animal fertility. With the kind permission of the chairs, I would like to request you, on behalf of the organizing committee also, I would like to request you to share the talk. Please, sir.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Can we
Yes,
proceed?
sir.
Okay, sir. Proceed.
Yes.
Main objectives for a dairy herd, or if you look at an individual animal also, the first thing you look at is the age at puberty. The age at puberty should be about 18 months. These are some of the parameters which will reflect the reproductive health of the animal. That is age at puberty. It should be 18 months. Age at first calving should be 24 to 30 months. Interval calving to conception, that we normally call it as a service period, it should be less than 90 days. Interval from calving to first AI should be less than 70 days. Conception rate at first AI should be greater than 60%. Number of AI per conception should be less than 1.5. If you look at this figure, that is number of AI per conception, this is very, very important, because normally, in the field, you take any state for that matter, the normal conception ranges from 40 to 45%. If many of the participants do agree with me, from my experience, what I observed, the conception rate is between 45 to 50% in the normal course. Suppose you do some other synchronization procedure and other things, that is different. But in a normal scenario, in the farm conditions, in the field conditions, the conception rate ranges from 40 to 45%. And the number of AI per conception, it should be only less than 1.5. If it is going to be more than 1.5, say, sometimes there are instances where it goes for 2, 3 or something, 3.5, then definitely there is a serious problem. Then of course abortions and other things culling due to infertility is less than 5%. So main parameters what you have to look at is age at puberty, then age at first calving, then calving to conception. This we call it as the service period. Then that is calving to first AI should be 70 days. Then number of AI per conception should be less than 1.5. Now, if you look at the incidence of infertility, because this actually is a data, I think Dr. Mishra will be knowing it. We have done in the All India Coordinated Research Project on enhancement of reproductive performance in animals. In that we had a survey. We took the survey of all our Tamil Nadu. Then we could.
Don't speaking man is speak start to jo aya kotha koichu subal tu.
The incidence of infertility, if you look at the repeat breeding, amounts to about 24.8%. Anistum, it is 14.8%. Then if you look at the heifers, that is pivotal heifers, that is animals which have come to estrus, that is heifers which has come to estrus but not calved, more than 3 years. That ranges to about 8.2%. They are more than 3 years old but still not calved. That is 8.2%. This scenario, this is very alarming figure, which we will be discussing about this a little later, because 8.2% is a big figure. Animals which have attained puberty but not conceived. And of course, due to other problems, it is 1.3%. Now, what are the major reasons for decline in fertility? So, if you broadly classify this, this can be put into 4 headings. One is the management. The second one is the nutrition. The third one is the production. Of course, nutrition and production are more related, and genetics. Of course, all of them are related still. More relationship is seen between nutrition and production, and genetics also plays an important role for production and gene. Because nowadays, we are breeding crossbreeding animals to improve the milk production. So naturally, we have to see the genetics is related to production and production is related to nutrition. So management is one aspect which has to be taken care of by the farmers who are keeping the animal, and a lot of extension work we have to do to educate these farmers on this management activity, so that overall fertility is improved. Then if you take infertility as a whole, it can be classified into 2. Whatever, say, you take anatomical cause, physiological cause, hormonal cause, or infectious cause, or whatever it is basically classified into 2 categories. One is anistrus. The second one is a repeat breeding. So how to go about diagnosing? Suppose you want to categorize anistrus and repeat breeding, because the treatment for anistrus is a little bit different in approach, and treatment or approach for treatment for repeat breeding is also different. So first thing, the important thing is you have to categorize which animal is anistrus and which animal is repeat breeding. So accordingly, for which I have a important slide for diagnosis. This, I think, this very important step in identifying a cyclic animal and an anistrus animal. Normally, what we do rectal palpation only. Rectal palpation is the most, even worldwide, globally also today, that is the most followed technique for identifying either anistrus or any reproductive problems in the animal. So if you want to know whether this animal is cyclic or not, you have to palpate the ovary and see for the presence of corpus luteum. Now, if you see here, this picture, you have the ovary where you have a corpus luteum that is protruding over the surface of the ovary. This CL can be very easily identified by any person who is little bit experienced enough to palpate the ovary, and then while corpus luteum. Now, the next type of corpus luteum is the one which we call it as the embedded CL. This CL can be very easily, protruding CL can be very easily palpated. The embedded CL, you see here, this is a diagrammatic representation. This is the entire thing is the ovary. This one is your corpus luteum, and this one is your ovarian stoma. So now the corpus luteum is sitting inside the ovarian stoma. This is completely embedded, and the ovary looks as though it is smooth. There is no protruding surface on the ovary. Now, how to locate? This is the, and most of the instances you will find only embedded CL, and in buffaloes especially the incidence is very more. You will find mostly embedded CL only, and unless you clearly make out the difference, the presence of the CL and absence of CL, then you cannot categorize which animal is anistrus or repeat. Now, how to locate the embedded CL? I can give you some few tips. The first thing, in an embedded CL, if you look at the size of the ovary will be large, because wherever there is a corpus luteum, the corpus luteum presence in the ovary size will be large. Second one, the shape. The shape of the ovary will become irregular. It's not normal oval in shape. Then consistency. This is very important. See, here you find, I told you, this is ovarian stroma, and this is the area of corpus luteum. If you try to palpate this area and this area, you will definitely appreciate a change in consistency. This area will be a little bit softer when compared with the ovarian stroma, which is a little bit hard. So this will be very firm, this will be soft in consistency. So in a same ovary, if you are able to identify one part of the ovary very soft, the other part of the ovary very hard, then definitely you can definitely identify that that is going to be a corpus luteum. So the softness is the area which is the CL, the hardness is the ovarian stroma. Now the last point is line of demarcation. Now you find, the ovary is completely sitting inside the CL is completely sitting inside. Is it just it is fitted into the ovary? It looks like it is fitted into the ovary in the socket. So you can very well appreciate this line of demarcation. So the demarcation of line where the CL and the ovarian stroma, that can be very well clearly demarcated. That will also suggest that there is a corpus luteum in the ovary. So your size, shape, consistency, and line of demarcation will help you to identify whether there is a corpus luteum in the ovary or there is no corpus luteum in the ovary. Now, the alternate ways where you can identify a CL is also an ultrasonography, because all of them may not have an ultrasonography equipment, which is more 100% more precise. This is the area of the follicles will look like anechoic structure, and the corpus luteum will look like hypoechoic structure. Now, this is the follicle. You see, this is a follicle, and this is the CL. So, this is the more, useful tool, which based on which you can very clearly identify which is a corpus luteum or which is the not a corpus luteum. Now, you take the estrus, anistrus, which I told you, failure of anistrus is simply defined as a failure of the animal to exhibit estrus. The most common, one of the most common cause of infertility. Again, this anistrus can be classified into two types. One is class 1, that is called as the false anistrum. What is false anistrum? An animal which has got a corpus luteum in the ovary but still not exhibiting estrus. That is called as the false anistrum. That means animal has got a functional CL but still not exhibiting estrus. The second category is what is called as a class 2 anistrum, where there is no corpus luteum and no cyclic activity in the ovary. That is classified as the true anistrum. So no CL, no cyclic activity. Now, what are the causes for class 1? That is false anistrum. Now, if you look at the false anistrum can be due to pregnancy, because in pregnancy there will be a corpus luteum, but still animal will not be exhibiting estrus. Then unobserved estrus. This is where many of the problem comes. Our farmers do not observe the estrus. So unobserved estrus, there also you will find a CL, but the estrus exhibition is very poor or not observed. These are two physiological conditions. The third one is your persistent CL. Now, what is mean by persistent CL? A persistent CL means a corpus luteum persists in the CL without getting lysed. What is the reason? See, a persistent CL will not occur in the presence of the normal non-pregnant uterus. So unless there is a uterine pathology, because we all very well know, if you just look at the physiology, the endometrium secretes the prostaglandin, which in turn goes to the ovarian artery, and from there it reaches the corpus luteum and then brings about the demise of the corpus luteum towards the end of the cycle. This is normally what happens in a cyclic animal. Now in a persistent CL, the CL does not regress, and because there is a uterine pathology. What are the uterine pathology? You find mummified fetus, fetal maceration, pyometra, hydrometra, mucometra, even sometimes uterine infections also. There will be a disruption in the endometrium where you may not get sufficient amount of prostaglandin secretion, and there is a chance for the corpus luteum to persist. So corpus luteum, please remember that corpus luteum does not persist in the presence of the normal non-pregnant uterus. If there is a persistent CL, that means there is definitely some uterine pathology. Now, what is the approach? Now, originally about, say, 20, 30 years back, people were practicing enucleation of the CL. If you see very old practitioners, they usually go for enucleation of the CL. Now, you say here, there's a blood clot which has come out due to the enucleation of the CL. Now, what will happen? This clot will form as a source for development of adhesions. Now, enucleation was CL was practiced in the days where there were not very much drugs, efficient drugs available to lyse the CL. Now, you have very effective drugs to bring about lysis of the corpus luteum. So, enucleation of the corpus luteum should not be practiced. If practiced, it will lead to adhesions. Now, you find the treatment for false anestrus is your prostaglandin F2 alpha. You know, everybody is very familiar with this drug. The dose is very important. When you choose a natural dose, that is your luteolase, this, if you go for the natural prostaglandin, that is luteolase, it is 25 milligram. That is a total dose. Please remember, sometimes people mislead themselves and then they calculate per kg body weight. So natural is 25 milligram, and synthetic is, that is cloprostenol, is the synthetic prostaglandin, which is 500 to 700 microgram. So the natural dose is 25, natural PG, synthetic is 500 to 700 microgram. Now this is, you see, a total true anestrus case where the ovary is completely smooth and there is no activity of any kind of reproductive activity in this ovary. Now that should be concerned. Why you say that it should be confirmed by repeated examination is to rule out the presence of the CL. If you are thorough with the palpation, then you should be able to identify, as I told you, the difference between the embedded CL and your projected protrude CL. So the main reason why this occurs is to insufficient release of gonadotropins or failure of the ovaries to respond to the gonadotropin. Why this happens, we will see. Of course, there are so many things, we will not go into that. Now, the main reason why the ovaries do not respond, we'll just little bit of physiology you should try to understand. See, when you look at the yeast cycle, in the hypothalamus, you have two centers. One is called as the tonic center, another one is the Surge center. What is the difference between the tonic center and the Surge center? The tonic center maintains the basal level of GnRH, and the tonic center or the Surge center is responsible for release of the GnRH in large quantity. Now, I will put it very simply in this way. Suppose a tonic center is like your leaking tap. There is drops and drops of the GnRH is released in drops. That means very small quantities, that is basal level. The Surge center is like you are opening the tap. when you open the tap, water gushes out. So it is like that when the surge center is stimulated by your pre-ovulatory surge of estrogen, which leads to the LH, and that in turn stimulates the surge center, which causes release of GnRH, which then acts on the anterior pituitary gland and release of the luteinizing hormone for ovulation. So this happens due to the pre-ovulatory surge. That is a hormonal control. Now, the pre-ovulatory surge to be very active, there are certain peripheral signal. What are they? Now, for the GnRH neurons, you see here, this are the glucose sensing neurons. So, based on the blood glucose level, the peripheral blood, these glucose sensing neurons send signals. Similarly, based on your blood fatty acids and blood leptin. So blood glucose, blood leptin, and blood fatty acids are the indicators of your energy balance in the peripheral system. So blood glucose, blood leptin, and free, that is non-esterified fatty acids. Blood fatty acids mean non-esterified fatty acids. They are the source, because in ruminant, mostly the digestion is microbial. You will find that after microbial digestion, you will get only the volatile fatty acids. That is, you find the propionic acid, then your acetoacetic acid, and the butyrohydroxybutyric acid. These are the fatty acids that are seen in the rumen. Now, from propionic acid, it is the glucose is synthesized. So you will find the peripheral system also should identify sufficient amount of glucose is there, it passes the signal to the neuron. If sufficient amount of blood leptin is there, it passes signal to the GnRH neurons. Then the sufficient amount of, these are all indicative of positive energy balance. When the animal is in positive energy balance, that signal is given to the GnRH neuron. So when the GnRH neurons recognize, yes, the animal is in positive energy balance, it responds positively to the pre-ovulatory, what we call it surge of GnRH. You find the peak of ovarian peak of estradiol that stimulates on the surge center along with your peripheral signal, which activates the surge center to release large quantities of GnRH, which in turn acts on the ovary and cause the release of, once it attacks on the pituitary, it causes release of luteinizing hormone, which in turn acts on the ovary and causes ovulation. This is how the cycle begins. So for which it is not only the estrogen peak that is required, but also your peripheral signals, which are the energy signals, which is very important, especially in true anestrus cases. Now, how to assess or how to know whether the animal is in a negative energy balance? Now, previously we used to have body condition scores are there. Even today we have a lot of body condition scores that are available to find out the negative energy balance. Now, body condition score is a too subjective measurement. One person may say it is a lot of fat is there, one person it is lean. So you have now a clinical device which can help you to identify, because I say just like your glucometer, you have a free one style touch glucometer. If the strip is available, the cost of the strip will be about 150 rupees. It is manufactured by Bayer. So when you take a drop of peripheral blood or any blood from the animal, you take one drop of blood and then just place it on the strip, just like you test your blood glucose level, it gives the value. Now, a value less than 1.2 millimole per liter, it indicates positive energy balance. A value between 1.2 to 2.9 millimole per liter, it gives negative energy balance. And more than 3 millimole per liter, it goes in for clinical ketosis. Now, what is this? It is beta hydroxybutyric acid. See, you just remember when the animal is deficient in energy. So what will happen? It will try to mobilize the large amount of fats from the reserves, and that will lead to increasing amount of free fatty acids in the blood circulation. And this is what we are measuring by means of this meter, which is a very simple meter. Otherwise, what we have to do, we have to collect this blood and send it to the laboratory and then wait for the result. But this can be done by the side of the animal. Just take a drop of blood and the strip, about small strip is there. You just insert the strip, place a drop of blood, immediately within say 1 minute you get the value, and now the value you can compare. So anything between 1.2 to 2.9 millimole per liter indicates negative energy balance. So if your animal is definitely in negative energy balance, you cannot expect the reproduction to progress successfully. So what you have to do, you have to correct the energy balance before you try any hormonal treatment. That is the more important point. You should take it up, or you should try to understand why we are talking about negative energy balance. Is if you try more hormones, like you use GnRH or use prostaglandin or whatever hormone you are going to do in a negative energy balanced animal, you may not get the desired effect. So please identify the energy balance, and then if the animal is in negative energy balance, initiate appropriate measures to correct the energy balance, and then try hormonal treatment. Your success rate will be very good. Now in this this is scenario, I would like to point out nutritional deficiency. Yes, energy is one nutritional deficiency. Now, if you take our animals, normally our indigenous animals, the milk production does not go beyond about 5 to 6 liters of milk. If you take a crossbred animal, a Jersey cross or a Jersey cross or Frisian cross, in a Frisian cross, the milk production may go up to 15 to 20 liters. But in a Jersey cross, it may be between 10 to 15 liters of milk. Now, any animal which is having less than 6 liters of milk per day, it may not suffer from much energy deficiency. And the energy deficiency in this animal may not be a criteria for bringing about reproductive failure. Any animal which is producing more than 6 liters, maybe 8 liters, 10 liters, 15 liters, definitely these animals are the subject of target. So you have to correct the nutritional deficiency and then we proceed with the treatment. Otherwise, because immediately after lactation, the animal's energy demand, very well, is very, very high because of the milk production. And animal also cannot assimilate the required quantity of food that you give because of some homeostasis that is taking place inside the body. So definitely they are likely to go for negative energy balance. So if that is going to happen, then definitely a drop in milk production will be there. And if this negative energy balance continues, this associated with the milk production will go to infertility. So that transient period where there is some amount of homeostasis, then the animal immediately starts producing milk. So that is a very transient phase where even if you give large quantity of food, animal is not in a position to take and assimilate it, and it will go for a mild amount of energy deficiency. And immediately this transient period should be overcome. If that is not going to happen, then your energy deficiency will overtake and then cause this infertility. So energy deficiency, any animal, see this I can very clearly give an example. Now I told you 8.2% of animals having pubertal heifers. That is animal which have come to estrus, but they have not calved, heifers. Now these animals, if you look at what is our farmer normally do, these animals, our farmers don't feed them regular concentrate. Maybe they are set out for grazing and they graze few amount of grass or whatever shrubs or whatever thing is available, and then they come back. Maybe they may be given a small quantity of rice gruel with some wheat bran. So that is not sufficient. Why? That is not sufficient means what I am trying to say is that is more sufficient for an animal which is not producing. And in these animals, if you initiate synchronization, we did initiate synchronization in the already coordinated research project. We selected all animals which were more than 3 years old, not cow, heifers, and then we initiated this progesterone device, inserted device, and then progesterone treatment, CIDR treatment, and we could achieve 80% success. And to our surprise, we used this deficiency energy, this what is called fridge touch BHVA assessment, and we could find none of the animals were in negative energy balance. So this very clearly says that energy is more linked to production. That is why I told you nutrition and production are very closely related. So if the animal is having less than 6 liters, you do not give much botheration towards the energy level of the animal. But any animal which is going beyond 6 liters, definitely they need to be focused, and more energy you have to give according to the production. You have to calculate and give the ration as well as you give the green fodder and all these things. So that point, then only the animal will respond to your hormonal treatment. This point, please try to take up in mind. So next, you of course vitamins. Vitamins, you know, the more important things are vitamin A and vitamin E, which is very, very vital for reproduction, and the trace minerals. Trace minerals means zinc, copper, phosphate, iron. These are all some of manganese. These are all important minerals. These minerals play a very important role as coenzyme factor during your hormone, reproductive hormone conversion. So that is why you have to supplement these trace minerals also. So for true honey stress, first in a high producing animal, correct the energy balance, then supplement vitamins, then you go trace animals, trace minerals, then finally think of hormonal therapy. So the best hormonal therapy which I would say or I would suggest is you can go for progesterone implant. The progesterone, of course, more about this, you know, I think the next speaker will be discussing about the synchronization, how to use progesterone and all other things, because progesterone is the most very effective tool in bringing about an adestes animal into heat, because it is having a lot of impact on the follicular selection. It not only synchronizes heat, but also has got a selection over the follicle. That is why the consumption rate will be much better when you use progesterone implants from anesthesia animal. We have recorded in genetic, we did about 60,000 animals we have done using this progesterone implant. We could even find a consumption rate ranging from 60 to 65%. And you know, the progesterone implants are very much, I mean, say to our surprise, there were more consumption rate in buffaloes which were silent disease. So progesterone implants are very good hormones which are to be used in anesthesia. Next, we go for the repeat breeding. Of course, this is a sponge which we have developed indigenously in our institute. This is a progesterone sponge. What we do here, we take the sponge and foam and then cut it in the form of shape like this, washed with detergent thoroughly, sterilized, that is autoclaved, and then we inject the progesterone powder dissolved in alcohol, ethanol, into this, soak it in the sponge, pack it, and then we use it readily for synchronization. This is what we are doing. This is very cost effective, because normally CIDR, if you buy, it costs about, now it comes to about 800, 900 rupees, but this will work out to about only 250 to 300. Now, repeat breeding syndrome. The repeat breeding syndrome is another, as I told you, is a very vexing problem for the veterinarian and as well as for the farmer. And what is a repeat breeder? The definition, or a typical definition for a repeat breeder, of course, there are so many book definition. Now, what I would say from the practicing veterinarian's point of view is an animal which is cow put to AI for more than 3 cycles, but not conceived. So AA done the more than 3 cycles, but not conceived. Of course, there are other things like the cycle inter-estrus interval should be normal, and the animal should be less than, why we say it is less than 10 years old, we will discuss a little bit later. And it is free from, of course, palpable abnormality and other things as a normal estrus cycle. So animal which has got a normal estrus cycle but not conceived to 3 consecutive AA. That is more important. Not that you inseminate today and then inseminate after 3 months, another 3 months. No, it's not like that. 3 consecutive AA. If the animal is not conceived, then you classify as a repeat breeder. And another thing also I would advise, you please don't inseminate an animal. Try to advise our farmers not to inseminate an animal more than 3 times. Don't continue to repeat insemination. If the animal is not conceiving to 3 inseminations, then the veterinarian should be consulted and appropriate treatment measures should be initiated. Because our farmers have the practice of inseminating the animal 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, and then finally coming back to you saying that these animals are not conceived. Now, there are 2 major causes for this repeat breeding. One is a fertilization failure, another one is early embryonic mortality. Now, fertilization failure in repeat breeder, normally, there is no 100% consumption which is possible in nature. Nature is so balanced, it doesn't allow 100% consumption. There is allowed about 15% reproductive wastage in normal cows. But in repeat breeding, especially fertilization failure, may go around 28 to 44%. That means, what is fertilization failure? The ovum that is released should be picked up and should be transported to the site of fertilization. That is one thing. Second thing is, sperms which are inseminated should go and reach the site of fertilization, and the ovum and the sperm should meet together and then put in embryo. This is the normal physiology, and everybody knows that. If there is going to be any problem, either in the ovum pickup or the transport of the gametes to the site of fertilization, either the ova or the sperm, the ovum, another thing, the ovum also should be normal and the sperm also should be normal. They should meet at the appropriate time so that the fertilization should occur. Now, we will see what are all the causes for fertilization failure. Now, the first thing is anovulation. See, anovulation means the ovary does not ovulate the ovum. The ovum is not released. Second thing is a delayed ovulation. Delayed means the ovum that is supposed to be released, that is 12 hours after Easter, that is the ovulation. But here, instead of 12 hours, it takes 24, sometimes it takes 36, or sometimes it takes 48 hours after Easter for the ovulation to occur. Then defective ovum. This is defective ovum means there is some abnormality in the chromosome. So, of course, we cannot do much about the defective ovum. Now, aging of the ovum. So, what aging of the ovum means? That is inseminating. If you are not inseminating the animal at the right time, then that may lead to the ova which has already arrived at the site of fertilization will be waiting for the arrival of the gamete. So, if the gametes, the sperm does not arrive in time, the ova will get aged. Or if you are not inseminating, if you are inseminating too early or if you are inseminating too late also, the sperm which goes there will not be able to meet the ova, and that will also get aged. So, aging of the ovum is mainly due to failure of improper timing of insemination will lead to aging of the ova, and aging of the ovum will result not only in fertilization failure, but it will also cause early embryonic mortality, of course, about which we will be seeing. So, the inseminating the animal is the right time is very, very important. That is the most very critical. Today the entire world is looking upon the right time to identify an animal in estrus and to breed. See, I can tell you one example. Why there is 40% 45 to 45, 40 to 45% consumption in artificial insemination, whereas if you take natural service, it goes up to 80%. Why? The reason is the bull knows when the animal is in heat and what is the time that exactly it should mate. But here, the artificial insemination is dependent upon the receipt of the animal to the insemination, to the inseminator. So it may come too early or it may come too late. And nowadays, what is happening due to a lot of global warming and so many other factors, the duration of estrus itself is getting later. Now, what we have studied in textbook is the duration of estrus is about 18 to 24 hours. Now, if you look at the crossbreeding program, lot of crossbreed, lot of exotic blood has mixed with our animals. This has resulted in the duration of estrus getting extended. In many of the animals, if you see, the duration of estrus gets extended up to 36 hours. So what does it implies is that means we need to practice repeat insemination also in these animals. We have observed many times the animals coming to estrus even after, continue to be in estrus even after 24 hours. That means the normal duration of estrus itself has been extended up to 36 hours. This is because of lot of the physiological changes, global warming, the stress the animal has faced, and in addition to that, the genetics which we have infused. Now, of course, the inability of the sperm to fertilize, all this, that is also is there because the sperm should be normal. Those things are all part of the male cell. Now, this is a congenital defect, that is segmental aplasia, where transport of the gametes is not be possible because there is only one horn, the other horn. This is called as uterus unicornis. This is what I told is additions. Bovine ovarian additions are there. If you are very thorough in palpation, these type of additions can be very clearly identified. This will result in the failure of the ovum to pick up, and such animals will also result in, because ovum is not being picked up and transported, it will result in fertilization failure. Now, of course, there are other problems in the fallopian tube, like they call as, we say this is hydrosalpinx or even salpingitis. Very difficult to identify, the salpingitis is very small because it's a very small tube-like structure. Unless because in human side, very well, they do what is called as histosalpingogram. There is one study, what they do to identify the patency of the fallopian tube. What they do what is called as histosalpingogram. They inject a dye, and then after some time, they take an X-ray and to find out whether the dye has spilled out into the peritoneum. So this is how they find out the fallopian of the patency of the fallopian tube. So here also we can find out the tubal block by using a test called as the PSP dye test. Now the PSP dye test, how you do, you prepare a dye, PSP dye, that is 1%, 0.1% PSP dye, and then you inject into the uterus. This should be done during diastasis phase, and then after half an hour, you eliminate or you collect the urine from the catheter through the bladder. What will happen if the fallopian tube is patent? The dye is excreted to the peritoneum, and from the peritoneum it is dialyzed and then comes into the bladder very quickly within half an hour. If the tube is blocked, then probably the dye is getting absorbed into the system and it takes more than an hour to enter into the urine. So this PSP dye is very simple. It can be done very easily in the field condition. What you do is you just take the catheter, then this is a urinary catheter, this is a cervical dilator, and then this is a Foley's catheter. You just put into the uterus, pump, push about 100 ml of the PSP dye, 50 to 60 or even 100 ml depending upon the uterine size, and then wait for half an hour. After half an hour, if you just catheterize the bladder and remove the urine and put one drop of or one pebbles of sodium hydroxide, your urine will turn pink color. Or if you see sometimes, the pink color urine, that means within half an hour, your fallopian tube is patent. Because otherwise, the patency of the fallopian tube is very difficult to determine. And if there are very experienced gynecologists by practice, we can still identify by palpation the thickness of the fallopian tube and say it is developed salpingitis. Now, early embryonic mortality. Now, early embryonic mortality normally accounts for 25% of the reproductive wastage. But in case of accounts for the 25% of the reproductive wastage. Now, the major portion of the embryonic death which should occur is between we will just look at the next slide, probably you will understand. This is the period, critical period. What is this period is what is about 17 days, is called as the maternal recognition of pregnancy. So early embryonic mortality occurs critically between 8 to 17 days. Any embryo that is fertilized will die if it is died between 8 to 17 days before maternal recognition. That we call it as the early embryonic mortality. So in this case, the animal cycle will not get altered and it will repeat for cycle, and that is what we classify as a repeat breeder also. In a repeat breeder, the early embryonic mortality will be between 8 to 17 days, and you know the 17th, this period, that is 17 to 21 days, is a very important period where maternal recognition of what is maternal recognition. The embryo should signal its presence to the endometrium to stop production of prostaglandin, so that the life of the corpus luteum is prolonged and there is continuous secretion of progesterone. This is what is happening in MRP, that is maternal recognition. The signal is produced by the embryo itself. The embryo produces what is called as interferon tau, which is secreted into the uterine lumen. And this embryo interferon tau is a local hormone. It cannot go into the systematic circulation, but however, it produces a number of genes which can be seen at a later stage in the peripheral blood. So it will produce or pass on a signal to the corpus luteum that yes, I am inside the corpus luteum. The endometrium should not produce. It suppresses the what is an hormone called as PG synthetase and prevents suppression of prostaglandin, and thereby the life of the corpus luteum is prolonged. This is what happens. But in early embryonic mortality, if the signal is not there, then probably if there is some problem in the signals, so as a result of which the embryo dies between 8 to 17 days. Why? What are the reasons why the embryo dies? We will see. First thing is cytogenetic abnormalities. This is all chromosomal abnormalities about which we cannot do anything. Second, if there is unfavorable uterine environment, normally once the ovum is released, the embryo comes into the uterus by about the 5th day in cattle. By about the 5th day onwards, it is surviving on what is called as histotropic nutrition, the nutrition provided by the uterine environment. Then the age of the dam, then the temperature, the hormonal imbalance, and other things comes to infection. So nutrition, as I told you, we have already discussed sufficiently that any animal which is having an insufficient or what is called negative energy balance may not be in a position to reproduce normally. That is what is called as the nutritional deficiency. So if you want a high producing animal, if you want animal to conceive or have a normal reproductive process, you have to concentrate on the nutrition. Age of the dam, about age of the dam, we will discuss in the next slide. Of course, temperature, then hormonal imbalance, about this we will discuss. Now, as I told you, the age of the dam. Now, suppose an animal gets aged. Why we say more than 10 years? That normally in an aged animal, there will be low levels of hormones. One thing. Second thing, there is a poor oocyte viability. Now, what I mean by poor oocyte, it means, in a female at the time of birth, the number of oocyte that is destined to enter into reproductive cycle or ovulate is fixed. For example, it is about 200,000. Now, during the early phases of the cycle, the good quality oocytes, during the process of the oocyte selection, there are recruitment, selection, and then dominance. So, first thing is a cohort of follicle will be selected. They are during each cycle, they will be selected, they will be recruited, and then they will process, out of which only one ovulate. So every cycle, a few oocytes will be wasted. Only one is going to ovulate. Like that, during the early ages of the animal, as the animal comes into cycle every time, every month a cycle, number of oocytes, good quality oocytes will be first recruited and then they will be wasted. As the animal goes old and old and old, only the leftover population, that maybe they may not be having the real quality oocyte. So whatever is available only has to be selected. So that is why in aged animal, the oocyte quality becomes very poor. And secondly, when the fertility normally declines after the sixth lactation. Sixth lactation, by the time animal enters into sixth lactation, it will be more than 10 years old. And because of the low level of hormones also, the aged animal will have poor fertility. Now, if you take the hormone, the major hormone that is involved in your maternal recognition of pregnancy, as I told you, one is your interferon tau, the signal that comes from the ovary. Second is the signal that comes from the embryo. The second one is your progesterone. Now, with respect to the hormone, we can classify a repeat breeder into 4 categories. Now, you see this is a red line where you find this hormone, progesterone, starts from the basal level and then reaches a peak up to 4 nanogram per ml, and then by about 16th day it reaches a peak, and then it maintains for some time and gradually declines towards the 20th. But in a repeat breeding animal, this is a normal curve. The yellow curve, one type of animal is the progesterone peaks gradually, it goes up to 2 nanogram. The levels are always maintained below 2 nanogram. See, it never goes above 2 nanogram. But in the second case, the progesterone level goes up to, exceeds 2 nanogram and then drops again. This is also not sufficient. In the third case, the levels are maintained again below 2 to 3 nanogram, even after 8 days at the critical stage where the maternal recognition of pregnancy should take place. Here also you see the levels are less than 1 nanogram. So if you see the hormonal deficiency pattern, in most of the cases, the hormone level of progesterone is maintained below 2 to 3 nanogram at the critical time of maternal recognition of pregnancy. Now, what we shall do to control or to improve the hormonal deficiency? What we have done by research in our department, we have conducted studies. So, instead people have the practice of giving progesterone. Don't go for progesterone, because when you give progesterone, you must be 100% sure that really there is a progesterone deficiency exists. Without knowing that, arbitrarily if you give progesterone is a double-edged weapon, it may also cause embryonic mortality by itself. So the best thing is you try to improve the endogenous production of progesterone by administering 10 microgram of GnRH analog on the 6th day of the cycle after AI. So when you try to give on the 6th day of the AI, a dominant follicle is there, may be converted into a lutein tissue, or it may be ovulated, or it may be converted into lutein tissue, which will supplement the existing progesterone deficiency. Thereby, during the maternal recognition, you will get the desired progesterone level concentration, so that the maternal recognition process does not get hampered, and then the fertility, the fertility or the embryo development is maintained. Then, of course, endometritis is there. I will skip this slide. Let's skip this slide. Now, what is to come to an overall thing is repeat breeding. If you go for a treatment, first thing is bring the animal into positive energy balance by putting, especially as I told you, in animals which are high producers, producing more than about 6 kg of milk per day. If it is less than 6 kg, probably may not give much attention to the nutrition. They can still overcome the nutritional deficiency and reproduce. But any animal which is going beyond 6 kg, you have to find out whether the animal is having negative energy balance. And I already told you that it can be assessed by your what is called as one-touch meter is there, which is manufactured by Bayer. Then of course you have to very much be very sure about the semen quality, because both male and female are equally responsible for fertility. If you use a poor quality semen and then still say the animal is infertile, then it may not be correct. So you have to use a high quality semen. The timing of AA, see, timing of AA, this is what I told you. If the timing of AA is not there, then probably your aging of the ovum will result, and it may result both in fertilization failure as well as embryonic mortality. So to bring about a timing of AA, a simple test you can think of is what is called as the spin bracket test. What is the spin bracket test? A spin bracket test is to measure the elasticity of the mucus at the time of estrus. Now, at the time when you put your hand inside and try to massage, you find a large amount of mucus that comes out. This test actually, you can just touch the mucus, then with your hand, with your gloved hand, and try to pull it apart. If the mucus expands up to say 15 centimeter, just a 15 centimeter, then that means that is the right time to inseminate. Now, why I say this? Because during the estrus, the elasticity of the mucus is going to be very high, whereas viscosity will be very less. So if the mucus is going to break without expanding, that means either the animal has still time to, it has not come into estrus, or maybe it has crossed the estrus. So it should expand, elasticity should expand slowly. When you just pull the mucus apart, it should come at least to a span, say 15 centimeter. And that will, this is an arbitrary test which you can do by the side of the animal to find out the right time to inseminate. As I already told you, because these days, because of a lot of stress on part of the animal and due to a lot of infusion of exotic blood into the animal, the duration of estrus itself has got extended. So as a result of which, many of the animals, instead of exhibiting estrus within 24 hours, their estrus getting extended up to 36 hours, for which you may have to go for repeat insemination. Then of course, if you are not doing timing of AA, you can also follow synchronized insemination for synchronization of estrus, about which I think the next speaker will be telling you more important. You can use a lot of drugs, PG, CIDR, ear implant, so on and so on. And then the next comes is your oxidative stress. This is very, very important, because the reactive oxygen species has been reported to cause DNA damage, lipid peroxidation, and protein damage. So ROS production also is one of the reasons for early embryonic mortality. And you find, as I told you, this is where the early embryonic mortality occurs, because there is an oxidative stress to these animals. The embryo can also succumb to the death. So we have to counteract this by using antioxidants. Antioxidants can be of two types. One is enzymatic and as well as non-enzymatic. Non-enzymatic, the best antioxidant is vitamin E. Vitamin E and vitamin C. Of course, vitamin C is synthesized in the rumen. You have to go for vitamin E. Or if you are going enzymatic, we can also substitute glutathione, which can be used for preventing your oxidative stress. And the oxidative stress also can be measured. Now, of course, endometritis treatment, best thing that right now what I will advise is you can go for a PG therapy, and then after prostaglandin, you can inseminate the animal for uterine infection. Because I will skip all these slides. And of course, this is the hormonal therapy. Now, why this? There is another one important thing which is called as suprabasal level of progesterone. Now, in repeat breeding, anovulation is reported in 2 to 16% of repeat breeder cattle. which is characterized by the prolonged progesterone after estrus. Now, normally immediately after estrus, basal progesterone after estrus, because if you just look at the physiology, progesterone is required at a very small quantity to trigger ovulation. Without a small, that normally we refer to as the suprabasal level. If even a small quantity of progesterone, that is suprabasal, is not available, then ovulation will not occur. But in a problematic animal like repeat breeder, this basal progesterone will be prolonged even after the estrus. So as a result of which, the LH release pattern will be modified and the follicle does not get the stimulus for ovulation. And the follicle continues to grow and release estradiol, which will induce persistent follicles and thereby delay the ovulation. Now, what is this suprabasal level concentration? The suprabasal level concentration normal is only less than 0.5 nanomole per liter. It is a normal level. It is the one which is required. It is necessary for the ovulation. This basal level of progesterone, because that is 0.5 nanomole per liter, is required for the normal ovulatory process. When there is a suprabasal level progesterone, means a level that is between 1 to 2 nanomole per liter, that is classified as a suprabasal. That means the level is going to be more, as a result of which it results in repeat breeders. And in repeat breeders, you find the suprabasal level is between 0.5 to 1 nanomole per liter. Why the suprabasal level progesterone exists? Because there is an incomplete or partial utilization of your corpus luteum, decreased release of prostaglandin, as a result of which low amount of prostaglandin reaches the ovary and the susceptibility of the CL is decreased, and thereby it delays or blocks estrus and ovulation. So when the suprabasal progesterone level is there, there is going to be aberrations of estrus, as a result of which ovulation is blocked and ovulation is also getting delayed. Now, what is the treatment for this? If estrus length, normally we say estrus length is shorter in indigenous and longer in exotic cow. So in any case, there is going to be a prolonged estrus. In delayed ovulation, there is going to be a prolonged estrus. What is the best treatment is you either go for 10 microgram of GnRH analog at the time of AA. What I would prefer is a GnRH analog, because GnRH analog is a analog which does not lead to development of anti-hormone. So preference will be given to 10 microgram of GnRH analog at the time of AA to combat delayed ovulation. Then, of course, as I told you, supplement vitamin A, vitamin E, then GnRH on the 6th day to combat the progesterone deficiency, so that the maternal recognition takes place. Then, to synchronize your insemination, you can adopt controlled breeding. And currently, we are trying many treatment like insulin therapy too, because insulin plays a very important role in follicular selection. Then leptin is a modulator of energy balance. Then, as I told you, estrus detection is a very important tool to synchronize your insemination. So people are using saliva to detect estrus. And genomics nowadays, as even your vice chancellor also was speaking about your genomic selection nowadays in days to come, because this is going to be a very important area, that is modulating genetics by adopting correct breeding policy and predicting the fertility of bull calf at calfhood. These are some of the current trends and research that is going on. Thank you for your patient hearing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. You have very nicely, very elongatedly elaborated the topic actually. We hope that our field veterinarians, they might have refreshed their memories during the study period, whatever they have studied, you have just very clearly, very elaboratively, you have described all the field problems. Here we have received few questions, sir. I would like to clarify them. Dr. Saurabh Mishra, he wants to know that do human keto test strips fit good for BHBA estimation?
Pardon? What is it?
Do human keto test strips fit good for BHBA estimation?
Yes, because we have not used this human kit. We have actually used what is that comes for the Bayer. I don't know whether it is being used for humans or not. But in Bayer company, the meter comes along with the strip. Each strip will cost about 150 rupees. This we have used.
Okay, sir.
I don't know whether the same strip is being used in human side or not. I'm not very clear about it.
Okay, sir. Another question, next question we have received from Dr. B. Balamurgan. He wants to know that PSP diet test, why it can be performed in the luteal phase, not in the follicular phase?
Because BSP diet test, because you cannot do in a follicular phase, because lot of fluids will be there in the during the estrus phase, and during the estrus phase, endometrial motility will be playing a very important role. So that will also help in pushing out the fluid and other things. So if you do it in diestress, the uterine motility will be totally very, very less. That will aid in the transport of your dye through the fallopian tube into the peritoneum. That is why we usually prefer to do this test in diestress, not in the during the estrus follicular phase.
Okay, sir. Another question from the participant side is that how leptin can be used under field condition? Is it available for the use in the field condition?
No, till date, leptin has not come into the field condition, but I don't know, the research is going on, maybe days are not far off. It is mainly used for combating your energy deficiency during the postpartum period, when in the case of high producing animal. Because I told you, this is a modulator. It just like it will try to modulate the energy deficiency and then help the animal to recoup the energy, and so that it can resume the reproduction. But right now, this product is not available. It is only in the experimental stage, but commercially, it is not available.
Okay, sir. Another question, sir. Can we use kisspeptin injection rather GnRH? Can it be used as a replacement for GnRH?
Kisspeptin also is a controller of GnRH, so you can use, but only thing is whether it is available. The question is available or not. I don't think there is no commercial preparation available as kisspeptin. If it is available, you can use it.
Okay, sir. Another question, sir, from Dr. P. Singh. He wants to know that in prolonged heat or delayed ovulation, GnRH should be used at the time of AI or 12 hours before AI?
No, it should be used at the time of AI, because in a normal case, if the ovulation, it will take, after GnRH, it will take about 24 to 36 hours. But when you give insemination and then when you are exogenously injecting hormone, the ovulation will occur within 6 to 8 hours. So it will give time for your what is called as capacitation of the sperm and other things has to take place, which will take another 6 to 8 hours. So the right time will be the ovum should come and wait. So it should be given only at the time of AA, not either before AA, 12 hours before AA or after 12 hours. It should be given at the time of AA.
Okay, sir. Another question, sir. Dr. Sushant Kumar Singh, he wants to know that is there any confirmatory test for knowing the infertility due to inovulation?
No, there is no confirmatory test to know that there is anovulation is taking place. You can, if you really want to know that, you can later. So definitely there is going to be anovulation in that case.
Okay, sir. Another, I think UG students, PK Mishra, he wants to know that he has asked a broad question actually, how to manage the infertility in goats. We can modify that question in a way that whatever the methods you have discussed here, to combat the infertility in case of bovine, are they will be applicable for the goats?
No, no, no. See, there is as far as goats are concerned, you don't, because we don't practice artificial insemination. It is only natural service. And so far as I know, the goat has not encountered much infertility problem. The infertility rate, the fertility rate is more than 80% as far as 80 to 85% in goat is concerned. And even if the goat is not conceiving, nobody will go for any kind of any hormonal treatment or any type of infertility treatment, because they go to a different place for your kana. It will become your kana after some time. So there is no need for any, because we need not go for any type of because that is a food animal. Even you see in foreign countries, beef cattle, they don't do much of a treatment, but dairy cattle they do it. So here similarly in case of goats, still we have not encountered much infertility problem in goats. So that is, this cannot be exactly adapted in goats.
Okay, sir. Another question is that how HCG hormone can be used in delayed ovulation case?
HCG, they told you, as I told you, there are two hormones. One is your gonadotropin, that is hypothalamic hormone. Second one is your pituitary hormone. Why we are advised to use this gonadotropic hormone is your hypothalamic hormone is they are low molecular compound, so they escape your immune system, so no anti-hormone formation will be there. Suppose when you use HCG or LH, this is a high molecular compound, they are recognized by your immune system, so anti-hormone formation will be there. So when you try to use this hormone second time or the third time, because these are all glycoprotein, when antibodies are there, your hormone will be neutralized. So that is why we say it is better to use GnRH than LH or HCG.
Okay, sir. One last question, sir. How to differentiate between inovulation and anovulation? What is the treatment of inovulation? Is there any terminology like that? I don't think so. What is the difference between inovulation and anovulation?
Inovulation. I am not able to see. Inovulation, probably what he means is when there is a ovum failure, the ovum that is released from the ovary is not picked up by the fallopian tube. Because you know very well, at the time of estrus, the infundibulum of the ovary, the fallopian tube, covers the entire ovarian surface and sucks the follicular fluid along with the oocyte. But if this is not going to happen, the oocyte will escape into the peritoneal cavity. That we can say as inovulation. Anovulation means there is no ovulation at all.
Okay, what is the treatment of inovulation?
There is no treatment. You have to find out whether any follicular, your fallopian tube is patent or not, why the ovum is not picked up. You have to look at all those things and then only you have to go for treatment.
Okay, sir. That much only. Hopefully, we have completed all the questions. Still, I would like to request the participant, if anybody is interested to ask or interact directly to Dr. Kulasekar sir, they can unmute themselves and they can ask, but one by one, not all together.
So, good morning, sir. Sir, the innovulation terminology is given in a Hafiz, sir. They were saying due to the deficiency of prostaglandin, either PGF2 alpha or PGU, because PGF2 alpha will cause a rupture of the follicular layer, whereas PGE2 will cause a remodeling of the follicular layer. So, if due to the deficiency of prostaglandin, that this luteal large size follicle will ovulate within the luteal cells or within the ovary itself. It is written in the Hafiz one line, sir. So, this is also maybe one of the causes for this ovulatory problem. So, how to differentiate inovulation and anovulation? This is my question, sir.
No, inovulation you cannot different. If you want to know inovulation, you have to monitor by using ultrasound. So ultrasound is one important tool where you will be able to mark the follicle, is it not? See, yes, nowadays using ultrasound, what is called as Doppler study, we are putting what is a Doppler, that is color Doppler. You can identify for blood flow to the follicle. Now, if you have 2 or 3 follicles in the ovary, you can, based on the identification of your blood flow, because a ovulatory follicle is going to receive much more amount of blood that will be shown as red color in the Doppler study. You have to monitor this follicle and look for the follicle. If you find this follicle continuously when monitoring, if you find the blood flow follicle which is having more blood flow, fails to ovulate the next day, then that means if it ovulates, then you should find a corpus luteum. If it is not there, then definitely it is going in for inovulation. That is the only way where we can identify inovulation. Otherwise, by palpation, it is not easy, or it is very difficult to identify inovulation.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
good
one
morning,
more question, sir. Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, one more question, sir. Can we use a kisspeptin hormone of human preparation? Because as we know, the kisspeptin, their role is to stimulate the GnRH. They are the first key factor. So can we use a human preparation GnRH2 in animal? Of course, these are my assumptions.
See, these are all things which you can use it, but thing is, what is the dose? How much you should give? All these things you have to come, because kisspeptin is still under trial. They are using a lot of kisspeptin in human for anti-fertility, for evolving anti-fertility hormone. Even in canines, they are doing kisspeptin trials to find out the effective drug to bring about what is called a hormonally controlled anti-fertility mechanism. Kisspeptin is a controller of GnRH. It is one step above, but still we are in the primitive stage. We can use it, but I do not know really what is a dose level that will be very much appropriate to initiate what is called a GnRH surge, so that it influences a pre-ovulatory surge in LH to bring about ovulation. So we have to find out the exact because these neurotransmitters, or these peptides or hormones which come from the hypothalamus, when you use in excess dose, they may become sometimes go in the anti-way also. So unless we know what is the critical dose that can be used in veterinary or for animals, we cannot make a trial. Or if you really want, you do a trial and tell us what will be the dose level at which kisspeptin can be used.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. But in the in vitro study, people, they have identified the kisspeptin gene expression. It is there. These people, they have identified it. One or two paper it came in Journal of Biotechnology. I have seen,
is
sir.
There, but the question is, what is the level of the dose level which you will use? That is very important. No?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, actually, I want to ask one question. I'm in field. So, yes. Sir, is there any specific differentiation between finding a follicular cyst and a persistent CL, means postpartum anistrus?
Follicular cyst and luteal cyst, you mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
By rectal examination, is very difficult to identify follicular cyst and luteal cyst. By gradual experience, you can do it, but still there may be a little bit of error. So only way to go for diagnosis is either you go for a hormonal profile or use an ultrasound machine, because nowadays a lot of people, but at least in our state, every hospital, veterinary hospital, let me not dispensary, veterinary hospital has got an ultrasound machine. So maybe it will be very near to the village where people can take the animal and do it. When you do an ultrasound, you can very clearly identify this is going to be a follicular cyst or a luteal cyst. Very clearly you can identify. That is why.
But sir, in field conditions, for rectal examination, it is not in rectal examination. It is not possible to identify these things.
It is very difficult. You may go wrong. It may not be. It is not 100% accurate. So that
then,
is
sir,
why.
What will be the line of treatment in this aspect?
That is what I am coming to that. So in the presence of the identifying whether it is a luteal cyst or a follicular cyst, what you can do is, best thing is, when you identify a follicular cyst or you find a cyst in the follicle, first day you give GnRH. So then followed by PGF2 alpha on the 8th day or the 9th day after GnRH. So that will try to combat your both follicular as well as luteal cyst. If the luteal cyst is there, it will respond to PG. If the follicular cyst is there, it will respond to GnRH. Because many times, the symptoms in follicular cyst will range from anistum to nymphomania, depending upon the luteinization of the follicle. There are 4 categories of luteinization. So,
yes,
4 types of luteinization. That means not fully luteinized, 60%, that is 20%, 40%, 60%, like that. So based on which the symptoms also will vary. That is why, in the absence of a very accurate rectal diagnosis of this, whether it is a luteal or a follicular cyst, you can go for a protocol of treatment. First day you give GnRH, followed by PGF2 alpha on the 8th day, 9th day. Before that, what I would advise is, our experience is, you have to treat the endometrium for infection. Either you give a parenteral antibiotics 2 to 3 days prior to the treatment with hormone, and supplement it with vitamin A and vitamin D. That will improve your conception rate.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
One announcement, sir. Participants, whoever are interacting with the speaker, please make your video on so that sir can see your video properly. So it will be an interactive session. Please, sir. It's a request, sir. Next, anyone wants to ask the question, they can ask.
So I want to ask one more question, sir. Can you give any example for herbal treatment for improve the fertility, sir? So this will be useful under field condition.
This is herbal treatment. We are using it. We have tried a lot of herbal preparation. You know this bell peta. Bell peta. Have you heard of bell peta?
Yes, sir.
You know this bell peta. Have you heard of bell peta? And you know what is curry leaves? Yes, we have mixed both bell peta, and bell peta means vilva elai. They call it, you know, you can see in temples, this Shiva temples, you can see there is leaves are there. We bring the leaves. First thing is you bring the leaf, dry them, desiccate them in sunlight. You have to dry only in direct. Don't dry the direct sunlight. Dry them. Remove once all the moistures. When the leaves become just started crumpling, you make them a powder. Then mix it with curry leaf. So you give about 100 grams daily. 50 grams of this, 50 grams mixed with 100 grams for 5 days. So we find very good results in treating both repeat bleeding and anesthesia cases. We are trying, even now we are going in for aloe vera also. But this is the product which we have tried, and then we could see about improvement of about 10 to 15% in the consumption rate. Improvement we have seen using this bell peta and this vilva elai and this curry leaves.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if we'll use only one leaves, it will be useful, sir. Either curry leaves or bay leaves. In some places, only we are getting only
curry leaves alone. We have not tried. I don't know, but we have tried both the leaves in combination, because some of the ingredients which are very effective are seen in this bell peta. Some of them are seen in curry leaf. So a combination of these only will help. So you have to powder them and then mix them equally, and then give 100 grams per day for 5 days.
Thank you, sir.
Starting from the day of Easter, and then inseminate the animal in the next cycle. Is it clear?
Okay, sir. I think we have completed we have covered up all the queries of our participants, and it became a very nice and informative session for all of us as well as our participants also. As already we are delayed by half an hour, and our second speaker is waiting for the talk. So we should sum up here. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. P.C. Misra, sir, the Organizing Secretary and Head of the Department of Animal Reproduction, Gynecology and Obstetrics, to give his views and complete this first speech.
I am very much thankful to Dr. Kuleshekar. He has addressed to the query of the students and the researchers as well as the field veterinarian. And for the knowledge of audience, I can tell that I have been involved in a project called AICRP on nutritional and physiological approaches for enhancement of animal fertility, where Dr. Kuleshekar from Chennai Center and Dr. Dhami from Anand Center were the role models of among the principal investigators. What he told, most of the research point of view, he has already experienced in these projects. So I am very thankful for you, sir, for your accepting our kind invitation and giving such a marvelous lecture, very informative, and for the knowledge sake of the students and the researchers and veterinarian. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So thank you so much, sir. Here we
Thank
complete
you.
our first session.
Okay, thank you.
With the kind permission of the organizing secretary, can we proceed for the second talk of this webinar?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yes. You can.
So our second technical session will be taken care by Dr. K. Murgavel, who is working as a professor in Department of Veterinary Gynecology and Obstetrics in Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Veterinary Educational Research, Puducherry. So briefly giving his introduction, I welcome you, sir, to this national webinar on entrepreneurship development in livestock farming through augmentation of animal fertility, organized by Department of ARGO, CVSc AH, OUAT Bhubaneswar in collaboration with IDP, NAIF, OUAT. Sir has completed his PhD from Faculty of Veterinary Science, Barcelona, Spain in 2003. And he is graduated and post-graduated from Madras Veterinary College, Tanuvas, Chennai. Sir is having 26 years of service experience in clinical teaching and extension, simultaneously in research. He has worked as a professor since 9 years. He has guided 2 MBSc scholar and 5 2 MBSc scholar as major advisor and 5 MBSc scholar as minor advisor. Sir is having 10 papers in international reputed journals, 58 papers in nationally reputed journals, and 3 invited lead papers. Sir is working as a reviewer in 5 journals. Sir is having a wide research project experience in different sectors like scientific breeding management of dairy cows for economic empowerment and social well-being of the rural women in Puducherry. From DST Government of Puducherry, then enhancement of fertility in buffalo by reproductive technology, Department of Science and Technology and Environment from Government of Puducherry, simultaneously with National Project for Cattle and Buffalo Breeding from Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. Sir is having so many awards. For example, just like briefly, Best Research Thesis, PhD Thesis Award for the year 2002-2003 by Autonomous University of Barcelona, Spain. Junior Research Merit Fellowship 1991 Award by Indian Council of Agricultural Research, India for Veterinary Obstetrics and Gynecology. Gold medal for recognition of the performance in a MBSc examination by Indian Society for Study of Animal Reproduction, and Best Research Paper Presentation Award in Scientific Session in the International Symposium held during 10 to 12 December 2009 at Namakkal, India. I welcome you, sir, to this national webinar. Now I would like to request you to start your deliberation regarding your topic. Please, sir.
Can you see the slide?
Yes,
Can you able to see the slide now?
yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Jana, for introducing me to this participant. I have to say good afternoon to all your participants and organizing committee members, and my special thanks to Dr. Mishra, who's my close friend also. He has invited me for this webinar. Thank you for everyone, and let me start with this presentation. Actually, most of the thing has been covered by the former presenter. He is my teacher also, Dr. Kulasegar. And so I am going to take only one part of that one presentation, the timing of AA. That I will cover in detail so that it will be useful for your field veterinarians, right? Okay, let me start my presentation. Shall I start? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So in 2010, I was invited for a lecture for a presentation in Odisha. Still, I remember that one. I think Dr. Mishra will be knowing this one in October 2010. After 10 years, I am coming back once again to your Odisha for this presentation. Thank you, Dr. Mishra. Okay. So in Okay. So one of the top priorities for the dairy enterprise is to increase the production of the milk. To increase the production of the milk, we have to increase or maximize the reproductive performance in the cow. I think everyone will accept this one. Okay. And improper or incorrect timing of AI is the important or is one of the factors that is causing delay in or declining in reproductive performance of the cattle. So we are having a lot of problems that is going to cause reproductive problems, and one of the simple thing is improper timing of insemination. Even though we are thinking that it's not so big thing, but actually it is creating a lot of problem and creating a lot of problem in the field condition. That's why I'm giving more importance to improper timing of AI. So first we have to know the status of the eastern when the animal is brought to the AI. That is one aspect that is going to affect the reproductive performance. Number two is the duration between the insemination and ovulation. Actually, we will be doing insemination to that animal. So the duration between the insemination and actual ovulation taking place in that animal. And these two criteria is going to affect the reproductive performance in the cattle. So what is the optimum time for insemination? Because we have to go for optimum time for insemination because the lifespan of the spermatozoa in the female reproductive tract is only 24 hours. And the viable lifespan of the ovum is 6 to 8 hours. So these two factors plays an important role in fixing the time of insemination in the field. So the timing of insemination is not only affect the chances of fertilization, it also affects the early embryonic development. So it is not only affecting the fertilization, it is also affecting the early embryonic development. The optimum conception rate has been obtained when the animals are inseminated 24 to 6 hours before ovulation. So you have to inseminate that animal before ovulation, at least 24 to 6 hours before ovulation, then you will be getting optimum conception rate. So in the field condition, we will be seeing that insemination and ovulation interval, the interval between the insemination and ovulation time is having a big variation, and because of this variation we are having a negative consequences on pregnancy. Most of the time we are having this problem because of this duration between insemination and ovulation time. And the question arises, how much of this low conception rate can be attributed to incorrect timing of insemination? So under field condition, we have studied different relationships that I explained here. Number one is interval between AA and ovulation with conception rate, and pre-ovulatory follicle size, which is measured with ultrasonography with conception rate, and serum progesterone concentration at the time of AA with conception rate. So we have studied all these things under field condition in crossbred Jersey cows, so that we can be able to understand what actually happens in the field condition, right? Okay. Now let me show you this one, ovulation time. So here you can see in the graph, this first one, 0 hour, that is before insemination. These animals are ovulated even before insemination. These are animals brought for insemination in the field condition. Only we have taken data only from that one. Okay. So the first sector you can see, the animals have been ovulated even before insemination. So we could not able to get any pregnancy rate. There is no pregnancy in this case. Okay. Then in the second you can see animal ovulated within 24 hours after ovulation. After insemination. Animal ovulated within 24 hours after insemination, and we could able to achieve around 54% conception rate. And when the animal is going to ovulate within 24 to 48 hours after insemination, we achieved for 75% conception rate. This is because this increase in conception rate here is because of double insemination we have done for animal that has not ovulated within 24 hours. Make it a point. When the animal has not ovulated within 24 hours, we went for second insemination. That's why we could able to get 75% conception rate when the animal is going to ovulate 24 to 48 hours after first insemination. And when the animal is going to ovulate beyond 2 days, 48 hours, and there is no conception rate, the pregnancy rate is 0. And once again, we are also having another problem, that is anovulation. The animal has not ovulated. That has been identified with the help of ultrasonography. And even we have seen that animal after 10 days, we checked for the CL, and there is no formation of the seed. That shows that animal has not ovulated. Actually, it has gone for atresia. And here also we have not achieved any pregnancy rate. So if the animal is going to ovulate within 24 hours after insemination, we can get a good conception rate. Followed by that, if it is going to ovulate within 24 to 48 hours with the double insemination, you'll be getting very good conception rate. So this is one of the important factors we have to decide. Then number 2, pre-ovulatory follicle, that is ovulation before, just before ovulation, we will be measuring the follicle size with the help of ultrasonography. We'll be taking the average of the two diameters. Actually, it will be in millimeters. Okay. So when the animal is going to have less than 9 millimeter diameter of the follicle before at the time of ovulation, there is no pregnancy rate. You note down this one, there is no pregnancy if the follicle size is less than 9 mm. And if the follicle size is between 9 to 12 mm, then the pregnancy rate is 55%. And if it is more than 12 mm also, it is around 50%. So the animal can go for pregnancy only if the follicle size is more than 9 mm. Even though if you are going to inseminate, if the follicle size is less than 9 mm, it may not go for conception. So that's another important point we have to take into consideration. So how many animals are having, how many percentages of animal having different sizes of follicles at the time of conception, at the time of insemination, that we studied. We could able to see 12% of the animal that is brought for insemination from the field are having less than 9 mm. Okay, so these animals are not going to conceive even if you are going to inseminate. It will be showing very good eastrum, all signs of eastrum will be there, but still it will not conceive. So that problem is there. So the follicle size plays an important role. And 32% of the animal is going to have more than 12 mm follicle size. It's also good. And here once again, this is also good. That is 56% of the animal is going to have 9 to 12 mm of follicle size. Even this animal is also going to conceive. So the follicle size plays a major role in conception, number 2. Then serum progesterone concentration at the time of insemination. That is serum progesterone concentration at the time of insemination also plays a role. So most of the time you might have studied in a textbook that if the animal is in estrus, then progesterone level should be less than 1 nanogram. Yes, yes. But when you're going to see properly, here you can able to appreciate this one. If that progesterone concentration is just less than 1 nanogram, the conception is only 28%. If the level of progesterone is still less than 0.35 nanogram per ml, then the conception chances are very good. That is 64%, almost 65%. Okay, so the level of progesterone at the time of insemination also plays a role in conception. And even though in the textbook previously we used to say that less than 1 nanogram is good, the animal is in eastrum. It is one of the method to diagnose that it is in eastrum or not. But in my research, we could able to find it should be less than 0.35 nanogram per ml. That we call it as basal level. And more than that, we call it as suprabasal level that our previous speaker has told extensively in his presentation. So this is another important point. So it should be less than 0.35 nanogram if it is going to have good conception rate. So the salient findings under these field conditions, we could able to say the conception rate following first insemination will be usually 36%. You won't believe that even in European countries, actually I worked in Spain in the 3 big farms, even there we used to get only 35% conception rate if you are going to go for insemination without any treatment or any hormonal treatment, etc. Right? So this 35 to 40 is very good. That's a good for the field condition. Even though many people say we achieve 65, 75, all will be done with the help of synchronization or bogus record. Remember it. Then the overall conception rate can be improved in case of animal that is going to ovulate even beyond 24 hours by going for a double insemination. In that case, you can able to reach around 45%. This is regarding double insemination, and because you are going to cover even the animal that is going to ovulate between 24 to 48 hours. Remember this one. And whenever we are going to inseminate animal that has already ovulated, that is animal owner bringing the animal too late for insemination, that is already ovulated, or that animal not going to ovulate even up to 48 hours, even with the 2 insemination, the animal is not going to conceive. Okay, then as I told, the size of the pre-ovulatory follicle. If it is less than 9 nanogram, sorry, if it is less than 9 millimeter, the animal is not going to conceive. And then the important thing is progesterone concentration. Just now I discussed, it should be less than 0.3 nanogram per ml. That we call it as a basal level. Even though we are telling less than 1 nanogram, animal is in estrus, but still, if we want to get a good consumption rate, it should be less than 0.35 nanogram per ml. And so based on all this work, we can conclude that the percentage of animals brought for insemination to the ward, insemination ward, is only 67%. See, when you're going to get 100 animals for insemination in a place, in a field, in a dispensary, we can say it is only 67% of the animal is a real heat. So we can able to see with the two parameters. This one is based on the studying the ovulation time with the help of ultrasonography. There we can able to see it's only 67%. And based on the progesterone concentration, when the animal is less than, going to have less than 3.5, sorry, not 3.5, 0.35 nanogram basal level, 67%. So based on this, we can say only 67% of the animal brought for insemination to the field, to the dispensary, are in correct time for insemination. So 33% of the animal that is brought for insemination are not in correct time, even though we will be inseminating. It will be showing all type of symptoms, clinical signs, that is behavioral signs of wisdom. It will be having a discharge. If you put your hand, it will be having a tonicity of the head. Everything will be there. Still, the animal will not conceive. So 33% of the animal brought for insemination is not going to conceive, even though we are going to inseminate that animal with a very good quality semen. So this is the point we have to remember. So the timing of insemination is very important for good conception rate. So how to find out the correct timing of insemination? That is, we have to go for proper heat detection. Proper heat detection is one of the way to do, and we are having several methods. I think no need to discuss everything. So we might have studied everything, no? Visual observation, pedometer, heat watch, chin ball markers, gamma ray, estrus mount detectors, teaser animal. Teaser bulls also used, especially in case of buffaloes. And progesterone test. This one I told, no? With the level of progesterone, we will be assessing the estrus time and the video taping. So these all things have been tried to go for proper estrus detection. But in the field, we are having only one option, that is visual observation. Okay, so only based on visual observation, the owner will be bringing the animal to the insemination. So it is based on the behavioral signs of estrus. So the owner will be seeing this one: increased activity, restlessness, bellowing, silent, slight swelling of the vulva, clear mucus discharge, mounting on other animal, etc. Different things are there: frequent maturation, reduced milk yield, etc., etc. But all these signs are secondary signs of estrus. Remember, all the signs which I have told is all secondary signs of estrus. The primary sign of estrus in cattle is allowing other animal to mount. Only that is the perfect sign to say that animal in estrus. Okay, that is allowing other animal to mount, not mounting on other animal. It should allow other animal to mount. That we call it a standing eat, because the animal is standing for that mounting. Okay, so we call it a standing eat. But here we are having three problems. Number one, usually it lasts for 6 to 7 hours. It's a short period. It's going to last only for 6 to 7 hours. So at that time, you should be able to identify that animal in estrus. Number two, only almost 1/3 of the animal may not show the signs, standing estrus. Almost 1/3 of the animal may not be showing this primary sign of estrus. Number three, because of that management system what we are following in the field, we are not allowing the animal for free range so that it can able to exhibit that primary sign of estrus. Always it will be tied. So we are not giving the opportunity for that animal to show that signs of estrus. That is another important. So we are having these three problems to identifying the animal in correct estrus. Okay, so for proper estrus detection with the help of visual observation, the owner, the breeder, we have to advise the owner, the animal farmer, dairy farmer, to examine the animal, to inspect the animal 2 times a day. That is preferably once in morning and once in evening. Morning means preferably after milking and feeding, and even once again in the evening. So 2 times we should ask the owner to check that animal in estrus, and every time he should spend at least 30 minutes. Textbooks are telling it should not be less than 20 minutes. That's a recorded message is there that we should be, that the time should be at least more than 20 minutes. So we are telling 30 minutes. So based on that, we should be able to bring that animal in correct time for insemination. So these are the things we have to advise the farmers to get good conception rate. So ideal time for insemination is 12 hours after onset of estrus. That we are used to say. So whenever we are going to inseminate the animal within 12 hours after onset of estrus, we will be getting good conception rate. So for that, we can advise the dairy farmers that AM and PM rule. I think you will be remembering this one, AM PM rule, probably might have studied in your BBS days. That is, if the animal owner able to see that animal in estrus morning, you should bring that animal in the same day evening for insemination. And if the animal owner is able to see the animal in estrus in the evening, he should bring that animal next day morning for insemination. That way we can easily educate the farmers to bring the animal in estrus. But all these things holds good only for the cows which is going to ovulate within 24 to 32 hours after onset of estrus. Remember this AM PM rule that within 12 hours after onset of estrus, all these things will be applicable only for the animals that is going to ovulate within 24 to 32 hours after the onset of estrus. This is going to occur around 80% of the animals. Okay, so only 80% of the animal will follow these rules. So what will happen to the other 20%? The other 20% we will be telling it is going to ovulate beyond 32 hours, even it will be around 48 hours also. These type of animals are 20%. We refer it as delayed ovulation cases. It may be a delayed ovulation or it may be anovulation. Delayed ovulation means it will ovulate, but it will take long time, even 24, 48 hours like that. Anovulation means it will not ovulate, it will go for atresia of the follicle. So we can able to easily identify the animal between delayed ovulation and anovulation. How? We have to go for rectal palpation after 10th day. So after 10th or 12th day, you have to examine that animal. If the animal is going to have a CL in that area where it actually has the follicle, then we can say the animal has ovulated. That means it should be a delayed case. If there is no CL, then we can say it is an anovulation, that animal has not ovulated. So if to identify between a delayed ovulation and anovulation, just examine the animal after 10th or 12th day and see the follicle, see the ovary. If it is having a CL, say it has ovulated. And if it is not having a CL, you can say it has not ovulated. So it should be in a case of anovulation. So in case of delayed ovulation, you can go for double insemination at 24 hours interval. Previously, I was discussing this one, right? So we can go for double insemination at 24 hours. Ask the owner to bring the next day morning for insemination. Today we will be inseminating. Ask the owner to bring the animal for the next day morning to insemination. That way we can sort out this problem. Plus, we can also improve the conception by giving 10 micrograms of GnRH analog or 1000 to 1000 international SCG at the time of first insemination. Remember, it's not somebody was asking this question 12 hours before insemination. No, it is not like that. At the time of first insemination, just give 10 microgram of GnRH analog. GnRH analog, 2 GnRH analogs are available in the market. I think in India we are having only Buserelin. When I was working in another place, I used to use another one, Gunarelin. For that, the dosage is under microgram. That I will discuss later, right? So when you are going to use Buserelin, that is Receptal or Ovalent or other drugs available in India, just go for 10 micrograms. That means each ml is going to have 4 micrograms. Just give 2.5 ml intramuscular, 2.5 ml intramuscular at the time of first insemination, and go for advise the owner to go for second insemination. If you are having a SCG that is going to have more of LH action, you can go for 1000 to 1500 international SCG per long. So that will be having more of LH action that will increase that level of LH in the animal, in turn help in ovulation. Even this will be helpful for unovulatory conditions, because when the animal is going for this type of unovulation, it will ovulate instead of going for atresia. So that problem also can be taken care of. Okay, it's a 10 microgram buserelin on the first day of insemination. Okay, to overcome the estrus detection. So estrus detection is the biggest problem we are facing after the introduction of artificial insemination. Before introduction of the artificial insemination, we never had the problem of estrus detection. The bull will identify the cow and it will go for natural mating and it will become conceived. The two advantages are that the bull identify the correct time of estrus in the cow. That is number one. Number two, because of natural insemination, natural service, the spermatozoa will be very good when compared to the frozen thawed spermatozoa, which is going to have a lot of stress, all this problem, and always the conception rate little less when compared to the natural one, which it is the bull is going to ejaculate the full ejaculate into the vaginal passage, anterior vagina. So this is the problem took place when we started using artificial insemination. So how to overcome this problem? We can go for estrus synchronization, and nowadays we are also having synchronization of ovulation. We're just synchronizing the ovulation time and going for fixed time insemination. That is, we never go for estrus detection. Directly we will fix a time for insemination and go for fixed time insemination. So that is the mechanism we are using nowadays. Okay. Okay. So we are having two types of prostaglandin. I think Sarah has told already, but still it's natural prostaglandin and synthetic prostaglandin. In case of natural prostaglandin, it's only dinoprost is available. It's coming the trade name luteolase, and the estoprel is from the Spain. Okay, the luteolase is available in India, and you can see each ml is having 5 milligram of natural prostaglandin, that is dinoprost, and dosage per animal is 25 milligram. It is not per kg body weight, as Sir was telling. It is 25 milligram per animal. Most of the hormones will be per animal, not per milligram per kg body weight, because it's all going to act on the receptors, not on the body weight of the animal. Okay, so the dosage is 25 milligram. So we have to go for 5 ml intramuscular. That's the dosage we have to use. That is the drug, natural prostaglandin. Another one is synthetic, and most common synthetic drug what we are using in the field is cloprostenol. That is coming in the Pragma, etc. and Estimate. I was using this one previously, and Duramate. Many drugs are coming, and most of the, even we are having Illyrin. That's another drug. Then alpha prostenol. Different synthetic PGF alphas are available in the market. But nowadays, most commonly available is cloprostenol. And the cloprostenol, the percentage in each ml is going to have 250 micrograms. Okay, 250 microgram. And for each animal, you can go up to 500 micrograms. That is, 2 ml injection is sufficient to act for that animal. And the dosage is also intramuscular. So how we can go for a PG injection? So you can see that single PG regime. This we call it a single PG regime. Just give a PG injection when the animal is going to have a CL. So when you are having problem to identify the animal in estrus, just ask the animal owner to bring the animal after 10th day. So by the time the animal will be having a mature CL, 10th day CL. So just give a single shot GnRH. Sorry, PG. The PG already I discussed, right? PG, and go for fixed time insemination 72 hours. That is third day. And we are having another option. We can go for third day and the third day and fourth day insemination, 72 and 96 hours. That's another option. And then one more option is that giving PG when the animal is having a CL, then observe the animal just for 3 days, and the animal comes to eat, then inseminate. This is observed estrus. So if you see the consumption rate in these three categories, the best will be seen at the time of observed estrus when compared to fixed time insemination, because once again the ovulation is going to range, that I will be telling in your next future slide. So there's also one more thing is that if the animal is not having a CL, if you are not sure whether in what stage of estrus cycle the animal is. So first one what I told is ask the owner to bring the animal on the 10th day and go for this single PG. If the animal owner could not able to identify that also, just go for double PG injection at any stage of estrus cycle. Only thing, the animal should not be pregnant, right? So you can ask the owner to bring the animal, go for double PG injection at 11 or 14th day intervals. So 2 PG injections. So 2 PG injections at 11 or 14 days interval. And once again, we have to inseminate at the 3rd day, that is 72 hours or 96 hours, or inseminate at the observed estrus. So that's another option. In all these both the cases, the conception rate is very good when you are going to inseminate an animal during observed estrus. Why? Because most of the time the ovulation will be taking place around, you can see here, maximum animal going to ovulate in 3 to 5 days. So the duration varies. Even though we are going to, some animal will not go into a response, that is around 5%. That animal may not be having a, maybe a true unestrus animal. And some animal even respond within 7 days. And most of the animal respond 3 to 5 days estrus. So all these changes is taking place based on the size of the follicle at the time of GnRH injection. When you are going to give PG injection, when you are going to give PG injection, if the follicle size is bigger, it will ovulate and the animal will come to estrus in 3rd day. If the follicle size is smaller, it will take little more time. 4th day or 5th day, the animal will come to eat. So in this case, it is once again difficult to go for fixed time insemination to achieve good conception rate. Okay. So now we can see in the previous slide, when PG is given, the animal may go for ovulation within 3rd to 5th day. Most of the animal will ovulate between 3rd to 5th day, and you will be inseminating around 3rd day. So the duration, the range is 2 days. Within these 2 days, animal going to ovulate. Because of that, once again, we are going to have improper timing of insemination. So now we started going for another protocol. We call it the OUAT protocol. This has been developed by Pursley et al. In 1995. Here, yes, to we will be inseminating. Okay, we just will see here. Instead of 2 days range, that ovulation time, we have brought down to 8 hours range. That is, within 8 hours, all the animals will ovulate. Okay, previously the animal will ovulate for 2 days range, so we were not able to identify which time we have to inseminate. Whereas in OUAT protocol, all the animals going to ovulate within 8 hours range. So just with the single fixed time insemination, we can able to achieve good conception rate. So what is OUAT protocol? So otherwise called synchronization of ovulation. That's why we are calling OUAT, ovulation synchronization protocol. Some people are used to call it as GPG. There is GnRH, prostaglandin, GnRH. It's otherwise called a timed artificial insemination protocol. And here we can able to bring that range of ovulation within 8 hours when compared to 2 days. So we will be using 2 GnRH injection with a single prostaglandin. So for that we will be using GnRH analog. Okay, just now I was telling we are having 2 analogs. One is GnRH analog buserelin that is available in the market in India. In foreign countries we will be using, in European countries we will be using gonarelin. Actually I used gonarelin during my study period for my PhD. In that case we have to go for 100 micrograms, that's 2 ml. Whereas if you want to use buserelin, you go for 10 micrograms, so it's the 2.5 ml. So in India, what we are using is GnRH, is receptor gynorich or ovalenta. All is going to have a buserelin, which requires 10 microgram dosage, and 2.5 ml is sufficient. If you want to use gonarelin, we have to go for 100 micrograms. So this is the timed insemination protocol developed by Pursley et al. 1995 in USA, in Wisconsin University. So first they'll be giving a GnRH at any stage of estrus cycle. Okay, GnRH. Then after 7 days, they'll be giving a PG injection, prostaglandin. 7 days after first GnRH. Then once again, another GnRH, the second, that's what we call GPG protocol. So the second GnRH will be given 48 hours after the PG. Previously, it is 36 hours. For our easy subject, we will be taking as 42 days. Within 2 days, we will be giving another GnRH and inseminating the animal 16 hours after the second GnRH. It's a fixed time insemination. So by this way, we can able to get good consumption rate with one fixed time insemination. That is GnRH, after 7 days PG, then after 2 days GnRH, and 16 hours go for fixed time insemination. How it is happening, all this in physiology, I think not required for the field condition. If you really want, you can just refer your textbook or journals. Then other options also available. What I told now is GnRH and PG. But we are also having other options, that is using progesterone. Instead of, we can use progesterone with the this PG protocol. So we can also use progesterone with the PG protocol for effective synchronization of estrus for insemination. In this case, this drug is useful, this protocol is useful for both cyclical as well as unestrus animal. Remember, this progesterone and PG protocol is effective for cyclical and unestrus animal, whereas PG alone is effective only for cyclical animal, and that animal should have a CL at the time of PG injection. So progesterone PG combination is regularly we are using in the field, and we are getting a very good consumption rate. That is, we will be inserting progesterone and make the progesterone in that animal to remain in that animal for 7 days, and we will be giving a PG injection 1 day before the removal of progesterone, and we will go for insemination. So on a 0 day, we will be inserting the progesterone. It may be a different drugs that I will be telling later. So progesterone will be introduced into the system of the animal, and we will be waiting for 6th day. On the 6th day, we will be giving PG injection, and after 1 day, we will be removing that progesterone present in that animal, and on 9th day, we will be inseminating. That is 2 days after removal of PG. Sorry, 2 days after removal of progesterone, we can go for insemination. That's a regular protocol we are following in the field. There's no complication, easy. Okay. So what are the progesterone drugs that are available in the market? So number one is progesterone sponges. Sir also told they developed their own progesterone sponges with the low cost. So progesterone sponges are available. This can be kept in the vaginal passage. Even before that, I can tell you one more thing. Progesterone can also be given to the animal by giving the progesterone powders, MAP, FGA powders can be mixed with the feed, and it will be given to the animal for around 12 to 15 days. Then immediately they'll stop giving that mixed feed, then the animal will complete. This protocol is used only in case of beef animals in foreign countries, because it's difficult to bring the animal, to control the animal for injection, etc. Because most of the beef animal will be made in the paddock. So that's why they always go for mixing that progesterone powder in the feed for 12 to 15 days. So whereas in case of dairy cattle, we can go for this sponge. It's going to have progesterone. The sponges will be kept in the vaginal passage with the help of an applicator, and then we can take this sponge out of the vaginal passage after 7th day. 1 day before removal, I will be giving PG injection, so that when the animal is going to have its own CL, that also will get lysed. So automatically after 48 hours after removal of progesterone, the animal will be in good need for insemination. Then we are having ear implant. Ear implant, actually we are not, it is not actually progesterone, it's a progesterone like substance, not just a mate. So it will come with the progesterone, not just a mate ear implant, along with that vial containing injection not just a mate and estradiol valerate, and with an applicator. So this ear implant, not just mate, will be kept in the pinna, ear of the animal, in the subcutaneously in the ear of the animal. So it is kept between the skin and the cartilage of the ear, and it should be kept for 7 days. So now I can show you this. They are going to, so here you can, the ear of the animal is taken and it is sent into the ear between the skin and the cartilage. So you can see here. So once again, I'll show my slide. This is my slide in a buffalo. I was doing this one just with the help of a applicator. We are inserting this one inside that ear, and now we can see this one here. Inside that, we can able to see that bulged area because of the presence of the ear implant. Then after 7 days, with the help of forceps, it will be removed. So we are removing it from the ear flap. So then we'll be going for insemination. This is another method. Another one is spread. There is a progesterone releasing intravaginitis. It will come in a spiral form. Once again, it should be kept in the vaginal passage for 7 days. So actually, I used this drug for my research work, and now I think it's not available in India, but in European countries, regularly they'll be following this spread. That's a spiral thing which is going to have progesterone. Then CADR, that is controlled intravaginal drug release, that we call it as easy breed. That's available. It's a New Zealand product actually, developed by Macmillan, and it is having 1.38 grams of progesterone. So this is the one which will be kept in the vaginal passage. So it will be embedded with the progesterone. It's nothing but a silicone based item, and it's going to have an applicator. A box will have around 10 CADs. Okay, so this should be inserted in this applicator. So now see, inserted this one in the applicator, and now I introduce this one into the vaginal passage. Then we'll be pushing this, okay, this one. Then I'll take that applicator out because of this this 2 years. It will not come out of the vaginal passage, so it will be kept as such. Only thing, that blue color rod will be the wire will be seen outside. So this can be removed after 7 days. This is another method of inserting progesterone to that animal. And now we are getting TriUB. That's also another progesterone releasing drug that can be kept in the vaginal passage. So that is going to have 958 milligram of progesterone, and it is coming with the TriUB, that's for bovine. So it's also coming with an applicator, and it's just big, in a CADR you can see it's like a T shape, but here it is having that the 4 types of turnings are seen, so that it will not come out from the vaginal passage when it is kept in the vaginal passage of the animal. So it's having good maintenance. It can maintain in the vagina for 7 days without removal. It can be seen in the vaginal passage itself. Retention, okay, we saw the retention time is very good in this hand. So it will be like this, that implant, and it is going to have around 900 milligrams of progesterone, and this will be inserted in this applicator, just looking like a CADR applicator, and then it is introduced into the vaginal passage, and then we will be pushing this one and take this one out. That way we can make the animal to come to estrus. So these are the other ways we can make the animal to come to eat in a particular time. That is, giving a progesterone therapy for 7 to 9 days. Just 1 day before removal of progesterone, give one PG prostaglandin injection, and inseminate the animal 48 hours after removal of progesterone. That will help in getting good conception rate in the field condition. And this is more useful in case of animal that is not all that we cannot able to see in estrus, that is silent estrus and unestrus animal. Unestrus and silent estrus, progesterone treatment is the only option. If it is a cyclical, then we can go for PG directly. No need to go for progesterone, which is a little expensive and compared to go for PG injection. And in case of true unestrus animal, that is, animal never shows that the sir was telling, where it will be having a smooth ovaries, no follicle and no ovulation. So in that type of animal, we can also go for another drug, that is PMG. Previously they used to call it as PMG. Now we used to call it a ECG, equine chorionic gonadotropin. That can be given a small dose, that is 500 to 750 international unit, can be given 1 day before removal of progesterone. Will still help in getting good conception rate, especially in case of true or silent estrus buffaloes. Remember, in case of buffaloes, going for progesterone and PG is very good, but still if you add one more drug, that is ECG, equine chorionic gonadotropin, that's available in the market, that actually it's around 1,000 international. You can use that one thing for 2 animals. 500 is sufficient. Just 1 day before removal of progesterone. Just 1 day before removal of progesterone, we are going to give one drug, that is PG. Okay, that is there. Along with that PG, we will be giving this ECG. That will stimulate the growth of the follicle, which will help in getting good conception rate, especially in buffaloes. We tried very well in our field conditions with most of the more than 65 buffaloes we tried with, and we got a very good conception rate, and this has been published in a Thyroideology article. So this is the protocol, simple protocol. Give, maintain that animal and the progesterone for 7 days, and on the 6th day, when you are going to give PG injection, along with the PG injection, we will be giving ECG around 500 international unit, equine chorionic gonadotropin. If you are going to increase this level of PG as a ECG, it will end up on super ovulation. More ovulation will be taking place. Remember, we have to go for very small dose. 500 international unit is sufficient, which is going to have FSH like action, and we can go for insemination after 2nd day after removal of this one, and we will be getting a good consumption rate, especially in case of unstressed buffaloes. And along with all these things, we are also having other options to improve the consumption rate. How? This is all for the field condition. So we can give SCG, that is going to have more of LH like action. 1000 international unit of SCG available in the market as Kurulan. That can be given around 6th day after insemination, 5th or 6th day after insemination. When you are going to give this one 5th or 6th day after insemination, it will improve the pregnancy rate by increasing the progesterone level. So this we have tried in the field, and it was very successful. PG students have tried this one, and it was also very good. Like that, instead of SCG, even we can try GnRH analog. GnRH analog means that is a Brucerellina state coming in a receptor volanta or GnRH, etc. That we can give 10 micrograms, that is 2.5 ml intramuscular on 5th or 6th day after insemination. These both the drugs can be given after insemination, 5th or 6th day after insemination. That will help in formation of good CL. Because of that good CL, it is going to have good level of progesterone. Thereby, the animal is going to maintain pregnancy. Okay, this is one. The next one, even there is also another approach where we can give this SCG or GnRH 11th to 13th day after insemination. That is giving SCG or GnRH 11th to 13th day after AA. Here it will help in formation of accessory CL. More than a normal CL, it will also develop accessory CL. That is one. Or it will also augment the formation of the formed CL. So the CL which has been developed, it also will be augmented, will have a good functional capacity. Because of that, there will be good release of progesterone in the animal, and the animal will maintain the pregnancy. So these are the things. It has been tried in the field, and it was very successful. So it will be useful for the field veterinarians to try and do it. Thank you. So any other questions? So thank you for your patient hearing, even though it is almost lunchtime. That too on a Sunday, we'll be having a good lunch.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I want to ask one question. Sir, if animal we are doing insemination, but it is not conceiving, so in that case, can we give progesterone during insemination? Means after insemination, can we give progesterone?
So actually, this has been tried in some animals in Kerala. They are regularly doing this one, but in our experience, it is not effective. Giving progesterone at the time of insemination no way useful. Just we can give the same progesterone after 5th or 6th day. It may be useful, not on the day of insemination. It is no way useful. Progesterone level should be low at the time of insemination. That's what I told. No, it should be less than 0.35 nanogram per ml. For ovulation, it is required. So progesterone, if you want to give, it should be given only after 5th day. Don't give it at the time of insemination. Instead, you can go for GnRH at the time of insemination, or you can go for SCG, LH preparation.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir, I have one query, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Sir, I am audible?
Yes, sure.
Sir, you told us a GPC protocol. So basically
Yes.
GPC protocol, luteinization of the follicle, luteolysis, and followed by ovulation. Say for example, when you are giving first GnRH at the time of dominant follicle is there or ovulatory follicle is there, then what will be the first GnRH response? Sir? That will cause ovulation, sir.
It will cause ovulation and formation of the CL. And following this ovulation, the new follicular wave will develop in third day, and that follicle will go for ovulation at the time of our insemination. And this animal will conceive very well. That is the animal going to ovulate for the first GnRH will have very good conception rate. Actually, there is an article, if you are really interested, you can just see Morera et al. In 2000. He has done the GPG protocol or oversing protocol. He has initiated at different stages of Easter cycle, and at different stages of Easter cycle, he has obtained different stages, different level of conception rate. That you can easily see that one. And nowadays, what the people are recommending is we have to initiate the GPG protocol at the early luteal phase. If we are going to initiate GPG, that is first GnRH injection at initial stage of luteal phase, then the conception rate will be very good. That's why we are having one more protocol called pre-sync protocol. In that protocol, we will be giving double PG injection, and we will initiate GnRH, that oversing protocol, around 7th day of Easter cycle, and the conception rate will be very good. Even that we have published an article in the theory journal. Actually, myself and my professor Lopez Gatius from Spain, we have published a lot of international publications regarding this one. And you can see that Morera article 2000, it will be very good. Anything else? I think I answered your question, right?
Good noon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
My question is that in field conditions, some people directly use clomiphene citrate bolus for any stress animal. So is it good to use clomiphene citrate with nutritional support?
Sure, sir. It can be used, sir. Clomiphene citrate can be used. Only thing, when you are going to use clomiphene citrate, you have to see you are also going to administer the copper sulfate. I think it is coming in a combo form, right?
Okay,
So,
okay.
then only you can go directly into that. It will bypass that rumor.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, we have received some other questions in the chat box. I would like to put that before you, if you will permit, sir.
Sure, ma'am.
Can the subluteal levels of progesterone enhance the ovulation process and thereby pregnancy? The question is by Rule Amin.
Yes. That is, if the progesterone level is less than 0.35 nanogram, that is, we call it the basal level. Then the conception rate, ovulation, everything will be very good. That I have shown in one slide.
Yes, yes, sir. Again, he is asking that data, whatever you have shown in the presentation on conception rate, are those data from the organized farm or under the field condition?
Madam, I started using the word field condition. All the animals taken only in the field, and most of the thing we are done in the owner's doorstep.
Okay, sir. Another last question from Dr. S.K. Singh. He wants to know that in delayed ovulation and anovulation cases during double artificial insemination, if we want to inject GnRH, then it should be injected once or 2 times at 24-hour interval.
Only once, that too at the time of first insemination.
Okay. Second dose is not essential.
Second only insemination, no need of GnRH.
Okay, sir. That much questions we have received in the chat box. Anybody who wants to ask anything, personally they can ask. They can unmute and they can ask.
The teen is here on the line. Actually, my sir, Dr. Babu, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You remember me, sir?
Definitely.
3 days we spent in our
Right. In the introductory speech also I told. I was interested to see you at the beginning also.
Sure,
and
sir,
throughout the period, I'm just observing and listening to your speech, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Thank you, sir. Anything else?
One more question we have received. In
Sure, ma'am.
heat cases, means prolonged heat cases, when to do the AI?
In prolonged stress, go for double insemination and GnRH or SCG at the time of first insemination.
So some of the native breed animal, they will be showing estrus in 3 days, 2 days. So in that case, when we will go for insemination, sir?
Once again, sir, in that type of animal, ask the owner to bring the animal on the first day of eastern, go for AA with GnRH and go for second insemination, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
If you are going to inseminate that animal on the third day or fourth day, the oocyte that is released from that ovary will be aged oocyte. It will not end up in fertilization, or even if it is going to fertilize, it will not end. It will end up in early embryonic death. It should be a good oocyte. In that case, it should be released within 36 hours.
Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Myself, Dr. Nalin from Raipur.
Yes,
sir, I had one small query. There is one case in a crossbred cow which reports abortion at the gestational age of 65 to 75 days, and almost 2 times it has happened, sir.
So this we call it as habitual abortion.
Right,
okay.
Sir.
Habitual abortion, regularly it is happening around 65 to 40 days, right? So in that case, just you can go for one thing, that is go for progesterone injection. 500 milligram progesterone injection can be given to that animal around 45th day. Since you told that it is 60th day, it is aborting, right? Go for this injection around 45th day. You start this progesterone injection and repeat this injection every 20 days or at least once in a month till 8th month of the gestation, and it will end up in the normal pregnancy.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good day.
And one more question I am able to see, mid-distal breeding has any relation to conception rate? No, there is nothing to do with the mid-distal breeding and conception rate. When it is having mid-distal breeding, it already crossed ovulation. It's only going to take place during mid-distal. So anything else?
I think our speaker has very nicely responded to all the queries of our participant.
Thank you.
So we'll sum up here. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your very elaborative speech regarding the artificial insemination and fixing the timing of AI in case of infertile conditions like anovulation and delayed ovulation cases. You have almost cleared all the doubts of our participants. Thank you so much for your nice deliberation.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for the organizing committee for inviting me for this webinar. Thank you, sir, Dr. Dean and Dr. Babu, sir, and Dr. Mishra, head of the Department of Gynecology, and the organizing members and the co-organizing member, Basanti, Jana, and Nayak. I think even yesterday we had a mock meeting and etc. And they were very useful, and they given a very good opportunity for discussion in field conditions, in the veterinarians who are in the field conditions. Thank you.
Next, I would like to request our beloved Dean, Sir, Dr. L.K. Babu, sir, to give a few lines regarding his views about this deliberation, sir. Please, sir.
Again, before the end of this webinar, again, I express my hearty thanks to both the speaker, Dr. Kulasekar and Dr. Murgabhel. Actually, only one point I've got a concept in my mind: when the interaction is more, it is clear that the participants, they were much more interested in the topic, and they could be able to grasp much of the things actually what I observed in both the speakers' speech. And if the interaction is less, then either we can say that one prediction is there that the topic was not interesting or they have not grasped it properly. But in both the topics that you have chosen, very nice topic. The presentation was very nice, one can say. Particularly the first one I was observing. In the second one also, when Dr. Murgabhel was telling, very little bit was written in this PowerPoint, and a lot of things he was telling. To the point answer was there. So on behalf of this College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, I express my hearty thanks as chairman of this webinar, sir. Both of the speakers, they have contributed a lot, and I expected that those they were listening, they all have enjoyed, and they have taken participation in wholeheartedly in true spirit. Again, thank you very much. Thanks to Dr. Misra, your organizing secretary. All of a sudden, he came to my residence yesterday. No doubt the planning was there, sir, but due to some problem, he was assigned with some other work. He had been to some place in official duty. So yesterday he came and he told, we'll start, then you start. And thanks to our Vice Chancellor also, whenever you used to ask anything, then he used to tell yes. And that type of support we have got. So thanks to all the entire team. And now I hand over to Dr. Misra, Punna Misra, who is present.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Murgavel. The deliberation was very brief, as Dr. Babu was telling, very less writings and more explanations. That is really good for the field veterinarian.
No. When you invited me for this lecture, I was little
afraid.
Because 10 years back, too much of expectation will be there from the field veterinarians.
No, sir, it was very nice.
Thank you.
And actually, whatever you told, already we are in line on the pre-sync protocol. We have recommended.
Dr. Misra, sir, we had been to Garivedi actually for VCI inspection. Dr.
Yes, sir. I know it, sir.
We stayed there and we enjoyed there. And Dr. Murgavel, they have started, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They started with. Yes, sir. They already started.
They started the college.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
So we have already started that pre-sync protocol as per your advice. So the field veterinarians will be benefited from those pre-sync protocols like double sync for cattle, extra double sync for buffaloes, and your clear guidelines for the 5th day to 7th day injection of GnRH will be very beneficial to the field veterinarian. So I will be wishing happy Pongal to both of the speakers, sir. You will be enjoying Makar Sankranti. And
Yes,
for the benefit of the students, if you can be kind enough to send a 5 to 10 pages note on this, it will be a record for us and it will benefit for the students also. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Shall I log out? Thank you, madam. Organizing, madam.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mishra. Thank you, Dr. Babu, Dean.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One important announcement for the participants, please. I have shared the feedback link in the chat box. Please kindly fill up that feedback link within 1 hour. That link will be active for 1 hour only. And it's a honor request to all of you. Please don't share the link with the people who have not registered for the webinar. Previous webinar, we have seen that problem actually. Some people, they have not registered for the webinar, but they have filled the feedback link for the registration certificate. We are going to strictly check that one, and whoever have registered for the webinar, they are going to get the certificate. Please don't share the feedback link with any other participant who have not registered for the webinar. It's an honor request to all of you. And within 1 hour, definitely you should fill up the feedback link. And the capacity of the printing capacity of this certificate is 100 per day. So per day 100 certificates will be issued, and definitely who have filled up the feedback link batch wisely per day 100 they are going to get the certificate. No need to worry about that one, and no need to give personal mail that when we will get the certificate. Systematically we are going to provide each of the every participant the certificate. Thank you all for participating. Now I will hand over to Dr. A.K. Nahak to give the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Bhubaneswar, ma'am. At the outset, I am thankful to all the participants for attending the webinar patientfully and in large number. On behalf of the Department of Animal Reproduction, Gynecology and Obstetrics and the organizing committee, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to our chief patron of the webinar, Dr. Pawan Kumar Agarwal sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor OUAT, for sparing his valuable time and kind support. I would like to thank our patron, Dr. R.C. Das sir, PIE IDP NAHEB OUAT, for his remarkable contribution and technical support in organizing the webinar. Our extended thanks are due to the chairman of the webinar, Dr. Lakshman Kumar Babu Sir, Dean, College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, for his all-time support and guidance in conducting the webinar successfully. I thank Dr. Jayakrishnan Das Sir, Nodal Officer IDP NAHEB, for his remarkable help for coordinating the webinar. My heartfelt thanks are to the two speakers, Dr. K. Kulasekar Sir, retired professor and head Department of Clinics, Madras Veterinary College, Chennai, and Dr. K. Murugavel, professor, Dr. Department of Veterinary Gynecology and Obstetrics, Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Veterinary Education and Research, Puducherry, for providing field applicable knowledge to our participants. This will definitely useful to enhance the fertility of the livestock animals. I thank to our organizing secretary and co-PI IDP NAHEB. I thank Dr. Basini Jana ma'am for organizing the webinar and hosting the webinar. Thanks are also to Indian Society for Study of Animal Reproduction ISAR Odisha chapter for the support to organize the webinar successfully. So once thank all the participants of the webinar for attending the webinar and making it a grand success. Thank you all. With this, we conclude the webinar.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ekena. Sir, with the permission of Dr. P.C. Mr. Sir, organizing secretary of this webinar, and Dr. L.K. Babu Sir, Dean CVSc AH, I would take the permission to end this webinar here.
Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you so much. We'll wind up here. Thank you.
Disconnected.